Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterland universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Praetoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
To send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode, another great guest. One of my personal favorite community members here. We've had him on as recently, I think he was our first episode in season 4. We worked very closely together throughout the Conclave testing period, and he has since started up his own Twitch streaming content over at twitch.com/roguesguild with another good buddy of ours, Mondroid. Excellent show. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Without further ado, RoguePatton, the one and only Rouge. Welcome back, brother. Always good to hang.
Thanks, man. Twice in one season. I feel honored, dude. Thank you.
Let's go for 3.
One season. What? Twice in 2 weeks? Is that how that worked?
TPG season, Jimmy.
There you go.
And the third co-host,
season, by the way.
So what's happening, Rogue? What's let's start with your Twitch stream stuff. You've recently picked it back up. Did you settle on a name? Let's start there.
Yes, for sure. Sunday Night Gospel is definitely like you nailed
Where'd you
it.
get that name?
Oh, I tell you what. Had a awesome guy jump into our chat like first stream and just start raining subscriptions on people. Like it was pretty cool. We appreciate you, Jangles. And he came up with the title, is Sunday Night Gospel, spelled GOSPL. And so I was like, you know what? That's clever. There was only like the 2 options we were going with because Mondroid and I are very competitive players. So like coming from trading card competitive TCG, there's like a saying that you say is probably like one of the most disrespectful things that you could say to somebody.
Get good.
Get good is like
he dropped me out. He dropped that on me the other day. We played. I was bitching about his RNG, and his response was it drove me crazy for two reasons. One, I work in education industry and I see GIT GUD. That just makes my blood boil. And then number 2, he got lucky with RNG and he's talking that kind of shit. You little bastard, Mondroid.
That's perfect. And see, that's where it's like I feel like Mondroid and I could have gotten away with that title because like our actual characters don't reflect that. We're very open, with our play lines. We love talking meta and we love talking about all that stuff. And that's really what we're building the show around, is just talking about playing the game of Splinterlands and playing it at a level that is entertaining and challenging. Constantly trying to keep up with the meta, discuss shifts within the week and, strategies that we kind of come across, highlight some cool battles that we happened. Haven't really gotten into the engagement yet part with the audience, but I'm really hoping that'll kind of happen as we go. Because we have like 2 things set up right now where like we'll do challenges with people for sure. Like people can trade in Twitch points for challenges. Challenge Mondroid and I will give away DEC if you beat us. If you're a sub, I think we just give away DEC anyway, and you'll get more if you beat us. And we also have like that interesting flip it or rip it mechanic that really nobody's cashed in yet. So I have never seen that work. It was just a brainchild of mine that I haven't able to see happen yet. So really hoping somebody cashes in a flip it and rip it and we can actually do that live and
what's a flip it and rip it? For someone who has no idea what you're talking about, what's a flip it and rip it?
So Flip It and Rip It was a very degenerate. It was a degenerative thing that kids used to do in real physical trading card games. Is you would buy a booster pack, and you would lay all the cards out on the table, and you would literally like grab one and flip it and rip it in half. And so like you could rip the most expensive card in the pack without knowing it.
Which
Why
was it? Is it
anybody
flip it or rip it, or flip
no
it
flip it
and
and
rip it?
rip it. Flip it and rip it. Like you have to rip it in that context. Now I've created some like interesting aspects for this one for us to where like if we do flip something that's absolutely crazy, like there are get outs there, not for us, but for whoever, cash that in, right? So like let's say crazy off their like situation, somebody flips a black foil, and like that's the thing we have to rip. Uh, if they're a sub, which is kind of the interesting part, that's the only option you have is like if you're a sub, you can buy out, like you can buy us out of the other half of the burn value of DEC, and we'll send you the card. If you're not a sub, like we are literally burning a black foil, and we will do that. So
Rogue, I'll believe it when I see it, dude.
exactly.
I'll believe it when I see
what
it.
are the odds we're gonna actually flip one? You know what I mean? But like,
Not too bad. Are these legendary packs you're flipping?
no, I'm not spending $24 per pack. No, but I was thinking, yeah, $4 standard packs, like, they'll all be flipped over. Somebody will pick a number 1 through 5. We'll flip that card over and burn it. If they're a sub, they can buy it off of us for the burn value of the DEC. And I figured that's a good way of just getting engagement, getting pack openings, and then honestly, burning cards. Sure. Like it's just an interesting aspect that at least in our game is in some way adding value. You know what I mean? So
It's
in
still
the
crazy
real
talk to me, man.
oh, it
can't even
definitely
fathom
is.
that whole
It
thing.
is crazy, but it's
crazy.
not as degenerative, I think, as the physical trading cards were, because I didn't that was nothing before.
It's
Now
the
at
same.
least
It's the same, man.
it's the same.
It's the same exact thing.
Flip it and rip it, baby.
Crazy
But
talk, man.
flip it and burn it.
Damn.
So yeah, nobody's
Wow.
cashed that in yet, but also I'm also looking for other ideas. So if anybody that's listening to this has other ideas on like Twitch engagements that you would like, to cash in channel points for, something in game, something, play oriented, or, I'm all ears.
And what's a sub to your guys' channel there? How much does that run? to
Oh, I don't
subscribe?
know. It's whatever Twitch does for their stuff. I think you
Okay.
can do a
I
free
think
one
it's
with
$3
Amazon Prime.
for me.
Was it
$3
three?
a month?
Yeah.
So I know that I
Nice.
know back when I was on Splinterlands TV, Amazon Prime was running essentially you could do a free sub if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. So
Gotcha.
that was something that was pretty cool.
Bam, and that just went up, the Amazon Prime subscription. Bastard's making more money than almost anyone on the planet, and he just jacked subscriptions to $179. Now it's got me thinking, I'm like, damn, I better order $179 worth of free shipping, or the hell with that. It's crazy.
Yep.
Crazy talk.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know, like here in my town's big
Get
enough.
off my lawn.
My town's
No,
big
sorry,
enough
go
that
ahead.
we've got the we've got an Amazon distribution center around here, and their whole fleet is like the brand new electric fleet of trucks. And honestly, it's kind of creepy hearing these things drive around because it literally sounds like the future. They just kind of like hum up and then they just kind of like shut out and they accelerate real quick and like it's real. They're nice looking, very clean. But yeah, seeing like a whole fleet of that, I'm like, that's where that subscription comes from.
Do they have
Yeah.
the drone deliveries where either of you guys
I
are?
don't have any drone delivery where I'm at. No.
I have not seen drone deliveries. I'll probably shoot a
That's-
drone if it shows up at my door. There's no
Yeah, I
question.
think our
Just
state might
shotgun
also
out the
do
front
that.
door. Bam.
I think
Red
you've got to
states.
have like a backyard to do it. I saw something about like you have to have like a certain square footage size space for the drone to, nail a decent sized proximity of. Uh, and I would guess that it's, like major distribution centers only sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy, man.
I'm also
guess
not
one-
sold on electric cars either, and I'll tell you why. Personal experience now here. Drove to a gig. It was 2 hours down south there, Palo Alto area, and a band member had an electric car. We get to the place. It's kind of like a business center. They had like a community center, a convention hall type thing where we were playing, and there's apartments nearby. So we look up chargers online, and we go over there, and you're not allowed to charge unless you're a resident, first of all. So we're like, oh, you got to be freaking kidding me. We can't even pay to use the charger unless you're a resident of this place. So there's nowhere to charge the car. So, and it's got like 3 hours of freaking drive time, and we drove 2 hours already. So after the gig, it's all freaking late. We have to get on maps, find a charger off of the highway, go drive to the charging station, and sit there for like 40 minutes while you're watching your car charge up. And then I'm looking at the costs like accumulate per freaking click, and I'm just like, dude, this is actually like the same price as gas. So it's but way more inconvenient.
When was this though, Jimmy?
Like a couple months ago, 2 months ago.
Oh, this was
maybe.
recent.
Oh yeah, this is recent.
Yeah, the infrastructure is still not there.
That's
It's
what I was
not
going to
there,
say.
man.
Is the
It's
infrastructure.
like, man,
Well, we have I have an electric scooter. There's a company here called Gogoro, Gogoro, and it is freaking awesome. Number one, I feel like I'm driving like Star Wars machine. It's it just
the
zips
best
off,
part.
and it plays music when I start and stop it. It knows my birthday. It knows Christmas. It plays like
Stop
appropriately
it.
themed music. But the infrastructure here is so awesome, man. Like you drive 5 minutes, you're passing another battery swap station. And it's
Yeah,
literally
that's what
you just pop the trunk, you pull out your batteries, you swap them out, and you're good to go. It takes 2 seconds.
That's awesome.
I'm on the website right now looking at this thing. I want to buy one of these.
It's cool, man.
Does it play Star Wars music when you get on it?
It probably could. It probably
Perfect.
like
That would
I
be
have
cool.
I can customize the lighting, the music, the sounds. I can turn off like turn off the regen function. So when you're braking, for example, how much energy does it pump back into the batteries? When I was living in Taipei, I was going up and down a bunch of hills. That was brilliant. I could pull another 20% battery life out of my batteries just going down the hills, having the auto brake. Pump energy back into my batteries. But yeah, it's
amazing what
freaking rad,
happened.
man.
That's amazing what happens when an oil company doesn't have a death grip on your economy.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe it's just an infrastructure problem. I mean that sucks having to spend 3 hours hunting down. Number one, I feel like bogarting the charging station. That feels borderline illegal. I don't think that can be.
That was bullshit, man. Like we were sitting there, we're trying to swipe the card. They're trying to swipe the card, and it just wouldn't take it. We're like, what the hell's going on? Finally, someone walks by, and they're like, oh yeah, you got to be a resident to use it. You have to have like a code.
Like a resident of the city?
A resident of that apartment complex.
Wow.
Even though it was like a place, there was a public building there. That's we were.
Well, and obviously
like
that charging station
community
showed up
building.
on the maps, right? Like it was suggested as a charging station.
Oh yeah, it showed up. Yeah, it showed up on the
Yeah,
phone.
that's
like,
nonsense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Raging.
Well, long story short, best way to use that significantly overpriced Amazon Prime subscription is to support guys like Rogue.
Bam. Exactly. Bam.
Thanks, buddy.
Full circle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that. When do you guys stream? Do you have a schedule, or is it just kind of like you
Yeah, we're
jump on
doing Sunday nights 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So
Bam.
yeah, and honestly this was Mondroid's idea. Mondroid, has kind of had an itch to have content, and he reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to do a show? And I had originally told him, I was like, dude, I don't really have time for it and all that stuff. And then finally I got the itch too, and I messaged him back and like a month later, and I said, yeah, let's do it. And he said, all right. So yeah, we're doing it, and so it's
Well, you
nice
guys are
having.
good at it, man. I think I caught your first show. I missed the second two. It's a little bit of a funky time for me. It's bright and early Monday morning, but you guys very compliment. Like I look at you, Rogue, and your skills as a host, as an analyst, as a color guy. I feel like I remember back to Splinterland TV days. Uh, you were the guy. Like I feel like you have such a natural knack for keeping the conversation going and offering, valuable and unique insights and adding value to the conversation. What are people thinking when they're putting these lineups together? And then Mondroid, like he's such a good color guy because number one, he's super sharp. He knows what he's talking about.
Mhm.
Number two, he's also a very witty smartass. And so his
Yep.
comments, you guys just have such a great balance between the two of you. So I'm stoked that you guys are up and running again and or I guess up and running for the first time, but you being back again. Yeah, big value add to the content creator space here at Planet Pretoria. So big fan.
Not to mention a very camera friendly mustache. Have to
There
point
it
that
is.
out.
We got it
There
out
it is.
early. There it is.
All right. I mean, he's got the full beard, but there's the space. It's definitely a separate mustache.
Yeah.
On top of, almost Frank Zappa chin thing, and then bam, mustache and beard. It's not connected. Bam. Oh, and we have to shout out Jangle's mustache now too, man. I honestly, when you turn the screen, I thought it might have been the Zoom filter, but it turns out it's a real mustache, man.
Jimmy, I think I told you from day one, my filthy mustache and beard, it doesn't fill in quite right. It looks questionable.
Well, it's new. I mean, it's been a week. It looks like the Zoom filter. Like I was, when you were trying the Zoom filter with Dave the other day, I was like, all right.
So my buddies and I, in university, I went to alma mater, Northern Arizona, Flagstaff, Arizona. Our big thing was me and my crew of like 15, 20 people. We would road trip out to music festivals, and we would have ugliest mustache contests. You're looking at the present and reigning champ. Whoever got voted the ugliest mustache had free drinks all weekends. So
perfect.
It was a point of, right guess whose idea this contest was. I knew full well who was going to win this thing.
Nice.
So yeah, loud and proud, bro. I also got asked for my green card, so if that tells you anything.
No way. Wow.
Yeah, funny quick tangent, man. I grew up in El Paso, stone's throw from Mexico for anybody who doesn't know.
In West Texas.
West Texas. You can literally see I went to University of Texas El Paso for a semester, and you can literally throw a rock over the highway into Juarez. So I have El Paso is like 95% Hispanic. I don't have a drop of Mexican blood in my anatomy, but through and through culturally, I'm very, very much Mexican. But fast forward to a few years ago, I was getting ready to part ways with a job, and I was teaching at that time, and I announced at that point I was growing the mustache. I had a little bit of a little Zorg on my chin. And I announced to the class that it was my last class, and one of my favorite students, Annie, she must have been 7 or 8 years old. She was a little bit shy, but easily one of the 99 percentile students in the class. She was super bright and awesome kid. So I make the announcement that this is my last class. I'm going back home for a couple of months trying to figure out what's next. She stands up and like slams her hand on the table and she's like, "Teacher, why on earth would you want to go back to Mexico?" I absolutely lost it. That will forever be a memory near and dear to my heart, dude.
Oh,
it's pretty awesome.
So, yeah. All right. Well, Splinterlands. Let's turn this ship around and talk about what we're gathered here for today. 2 days left. First season, brand new modern 3.0. Conclave is in full effect. Um, why don't we start with you, Rouge? What's your take on stuff? Is like looking from testing to reality? Is this are we kind of seeing the meta that you expected? Are you having fun?
Yes, I am having fun. I don't think this is the meta that I expected. Um, but I can say honestly that there's a big difference between testing a set and really trying to make sure that the whole set is playable and makes sense and isn't bugged versus trying to just relentlessly beat the crap out of the people you're testing with, because that's the difference between testing and ranked play. So what I'm finding is that like I'm actually not seeing an obnoxious amount of Conclave Arcana cards. Not that they're not amazing, but it's just that everybody, like the promos are still really big, the legendary summoners are still really big. So those plays are still like the go-to plays. I don't see a lot of the summoners played at the highest levels. I'm seeing them sprinkled in occasionally, but data-wise, I wasn't really seeing those. And then honestly, the big like I couldn't have seen it coming to save my life is that last word is not as broken or as necessary currently as I swore it was in testing. Um, and I don't know why, but I haven't been able to like love it the way that I did in testing.
Uh, what is that ability's name in Conclave? It's not last word anymore.
I think it's last word. Was it not?
Um,
I thought I nailed the real one. Watch me screw it up.
Final rest.
Ah, crap.
Yeah, final rest. So
Final rest.
Craniacs.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So it's been interesting to watch what we expected. Well, let's before we start diving into the nitty gritty. Uh, as a whole, and kind of a comment on the entirety of the set, man, I think we deserve a pat on the back. This set is so much fun. I'm kind of constantly, for better or worse, I'm kind of constantly experimenting with stuff. There was stuff that I feel like, we're just, maybe we're a little bit ahead on the curve of understanding what is possible with Conclave. I still think Shapeshift is criminally undervalued. I can't believe that the Skinwalker is going for $1 a piece. That's just insane to me.
Yes, I started buying those at that price. That's for sure. And
Yeah.
just knowing historically that we've never the promos don't stay low forever. Like even if they're not valued right now, like there will be a time where those will continue to tick up. And so $17 for the legendary, $1 for the rare. Yep.
It's a
I remember
bargain.
Mantaroth bottomed at
kicked me in the nuts, man.
27 or 26
Phew.
and then just never
yeah,
saw
well, they
that
went.
again.
No, that was day one. See, I made the mistake here of following the last two, Dr. Blight and the Mantaroth Grimbardoon Smith, where it was you had 24 hours when people who were in the pools and stuff were just dumping the cards in order to pay their, people. And you'd have these little dips in the cards, and they'd all get bought up, and they'd all get bought up, and then all of a sudden that dried up, and then Grimsmith and Mantaroth just went, brrr, same with Doctor Blade up through the roof because they were such obviously like incredibly useful and powerful cards. So I was like, oh crap, I better do the same thing this time. So that first day I was watching the dip, and I was like, nice, let me grab these, and then they just kept going down, and I was like, oh. Yeah,
Jimmy, you just hit the nail on the head. Nothing in my mind is obvious about the Skinwalker's value. I think on the surface, it's a solid support card. It's got Inspire, it's got Silence.
Yeah. Inspire and Silence is huge. Yeah,
is
that
good.
itself is awesome. Yeah.
Yes, but Shapeshift is the real magic, and I think the major difference with Blight is you know what you're getting. And it's obvious how powerful and impactful this card is going to be. You just park it in the back, and at that point, there was there was no real way to immediately go after Dr. Blight.
Oh yeah, he just scavenged and
Yeah,
poisoned
and by
and
the time he gets
afflicted
to the front,
everybody.
he's
Yeah,
massive. Yeah. With Grim Bardoon, same thing. Like the surface
yeah.
value was what you got, and he ended up overperforming, I think, compared to a lot of folks, early projections. But it was immediately obvious how Grim Bardoon could be leveraged for a really solid squad built around him.
Mm-hmm.
This
Oh
card, I
yeah.
think we're gonna see the other. It's gonna work the other way around, where going down the stretch of Conclave is when I think the values are really going to become obvious. We're going to have legendary summoners. You have to imagine that more bloodlines are going to get involved. There's going to
Yeah.
be, potentially tactics brought in, Conclave
Mhm.
Arcana
Yeah.
reward cards. Maybe
Yeah.
there's some more bloodline tributes that become available.
Mm-hmm.
I think this guy is going to, both of them are going to finish very strong. Uh, so yeah, I think we have as testers a little bit of an advanced look at, what is the real power of this stuff, and we talked about it a little bit last week. Obviously, that was early goings of Conclave. It had just been out for a couple of days at that point, and what I've continued to see is folks are really kind of biding their time in maxing the set, which I don't think was true with Rebellion. I feel like at this point in Rebellion, obviously it was still very early, first 2 weeks, but I think if you were competing on the leaderboard, most folks had a pretty much max set ready and raring to go. Whereas now it feels like folks are taking their time a little bit more. Maybe they're buying more packs because the black foils are an opportunity versus going to the market and just buying cards outright, which makes for a really fun experience because you're not playing the same deck over and over, uh, which I think leads back to the idea that you touched on, Rogue, where the meta we experienced in testing is not the meta
Mm-hmm.
that's available in reality. I think we'll get there, but it's going to take some time.
I think the other thing that I think is overlooked at this point is like how much money came in the pre-sale and actually how many cards were minted with that money. You know what I mean? So like that's one of the things that we're experiencing now that we've never experienced is like, maybe some of these people that would put in, 30 grand, what did they get for that? It was almost easily a maxed out deck. You know what I mean? If not two or three. But maybe that same check, if you were in heavy on the alchemy packs or if you were in heavy on the legendary packs, like maxing out that lower end, everybody was like, starter packs will be able to max out the rares and commons. But like realistically, I don't know, man. I'm shocked these summoners are staying as high as they are. Like you still can't max out a Razzie. Uh, you got 289 on the market right now. You can max out a Razzie for 289. Then a lot of the people are also like the gold foil decks and the gold foil Razzies, flipping 425. And so like those prices on the rare summoners, I think are maybe also why we're not seeing a lot of them in top play because there's many times I was spoiled. I was spoiled in testing. We get into a little league rule set, less than 20 mana, I'm slamming Razzie all day. And so in my head, like that's the play right now. I don't have it. And most of the time, my opponents don't have it. So we're playing like non Razzie in obvious Razzie situations because people just don't have the card yet. And I don't know if it's because they're patiently like ranking up or if they're just kind of exhausted capital and haven't been able to reclaim any of that yet. Because, chasing these black foils, like, I think that really might have exhausted more funds than what you used to produce with those funds. And now the market is kind of
Oh yeah.
reflecting that.
Yeah, like a lot of I know a bunch of players buying, alchemy packs or legendary packs, and that greatly reduces the amount of commons and rares that are out there. And then you say, yeah, dollar for the starter pack, but I don't know, that seems weird to me to spend $1 when most of the cards in there are going to be 5 cents. And you are going to get a nice rare, and there are the summoners, so it does balance out. And we know people who have, like Dave, opened a certain amount of packs and spent $36 on packs and got $38 in value.
Yeah.
So, obviously it can work, and that's again because of the demand of those summoners, I think. But yeah, we're definitely going to see a shortage of the rares and commons just because everything's tilted towards the top end right now again. And I don't mean financially, I just mean legendaries and that. And we also have the epics are affected by potions.
Yes,
So we're
also true.
more epic, way more epics. I'm seeing that. Like I'm opening a couple random packs. I'm like, oh, there's 2 epics in a pack. Oh, there's another epic in a pack. It's kind of surprising.
It's I gotta think it's really good for the guys that just want to play regular foil.
Yeah.
I think we've seen legendaries. I was actually pretty surprised with the price of legendaries. I feel like they bounced back up a little bit. But there was a time where, Bren is the first or the most expensive non-summoner legendary, 15 plus bucks.
Yeah.
I don't think he was trading at that previously, but most of them are under 10, which I feel like is pretty reasonable. Epics,
Very.
yeah. Like, I don't know, man. It's going to be really interesting to watch how this whole thing transpires, and I think, to your point, Jimmy, watching how the black foils, because that man, just yesterday, shout out to Shade. I know he doesn't listen to the show. He doesn't, quote unquote, he doesn't have time. I think he probably listened to an episode and just got tired of hearing us ramble. But he
doesn't want to learn about Amazon.
Yeah, and drones.
I hear about mustache.
He won a pack from that. I think he won a pack from that contest that Blaze put together, the seven sevens or whatever it was. You got to play all monsters and archons that have 7 mana cost. Won a legendary pack and pulled a Black Foil Arcane Epic Death Taunt guy. What's his name?
Nice.
Umbrella Elemental. It was the first one. I mean that's a $1,500, $2,000 card probably
if somebody buys it.
Well, Matt kind of set the floor on that. He bought the Molten Elemental Arcane for, I want to say, $1,800 on day one.
18, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a market for this stuff. I think it's probably pretty limited at this point, but. And this is something I want to dive into a little bit later as we kind of progress through the conversation, is like the collector piece and how much it is highlighted with what we're doing with Conclave, and are we seeing that it is, kind of coming to fruition what Dave and Blaze were pushing for with this stuff. But anyways, yeah, I feel like the black foils are keeping folks in the shop buying packs versus just going straight to the market and buying cards. So it's going to be really interesting to watch how, at what point during the set's life cycle do we actually see most folks having max sets. And that's so good for the meta, I think, is it's constantly going to be evolving without an influx of new reward cards or without necessarily the airdrops coming in, kind of forcing a meta change. It's just going to organically evolve as folks start to max up their respective decks.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. I think as a new player, this is one of the things that, coming in here, and this is a healthier ecosystem to jump into than what I jumped into. 1,000%. And so like I am a lot more comfortable like telling people to like go in and buy right now, because like this is nothing crazy, and like this is a very healthy price, and you can probably play bronze at a real decent price right now, which when Chaos released, like I would say the prices right now would be like 8 or 9 months after Chaos's release. comparably. Like it took that long for chaos to really start to come down, you know. And so I'm actually really excited for new players to be able to kind of like commit and jump in on Conclave.
Man, the amount of PTSD I think we have from and I'm not poking fun at that term for any of our vets out there, but uh you say 4 or 5 months after Chaos launched, that's about the time when I arrived, and it was through the summer. I'm pretty sure I arrived in February. Chaos launched the previous October, November. Uh, and I was buying through that first summer Dr. Blight's trying to get him to level 3. That's
Chaos
75 bucks a
launched January.
BCX.
End of January was the Chaos launch. They did the pre-sale before that, but the actual sale date was like literally like within days of the huge crypto crash, which was like late January, if
Oh
not the
man.
same.
Okay.
So that's when it went live, was late January of 2021, was that? I think it was 2021 or 2022.
2022.
I can't remember.
Yeah, 2022.
2022. Yeah.
Shoot. Yeah, but I was buying Dr. Blight's for 75 bucks a BCX. It pains me to look at the market now and see what that bad boy's trading for, but at the time you had to have him. You had to have him. But yeah, I mean this new model Rebellion has proven some staying power and a lot of the value, and as you know, I have every expectation that by the time Rebellion rotates, we've got more game modes offering more utility to all of these cards that will, continue to offer that staying power on value for cards.
Absolutely. And you mentioned when you jumped in, Rouge, when was that? When did you jump in?
September of 21. Yeah, make me bring this up. September 2021. So I was before the Chaos launch.
Yeah,
after the SPS. No, there was nothing for sale. Everything was not. There was a fresh release of rewards cards, and so this is when like me and Generation Chaos, like I view Aftersound's video of the gold foil Oceanus as like the banner of my generation. That was that was us. The like, let's buy a gold foil Oceanus for $500 because that makes sense.
Well, to be fair, you were winning. Like I was winning in champ $5 to $8 in DEC per battle. At like DEC had freaking pumped to what, 12 cents. And then the algorithm of DEC was such,
make more
DEC to bring the price down. So the win, it just kept going more and more per win. And I remember literally winning $5 to $8 a battle.
Yeah. Yeah, in hindsight, that's one of those where it's like, it made sense from like a traditional economic standpoint, right? Like if it's worth too much, you print more of it and that'll drive the value down. But when you have that much of a weighted stake for SPS airdrops, nobody's selling it. And so you're just printing it and the price ain't coming down. Shit. And that's even just another thing today. We don't have that. Like I think we kind of reached a floor, I would say, where like DEC circulation is concerned, because the way we bounced off 5 million, or like the 5.6 or whatever that was, 5.4, and
billion,
really we just 5.4 billion, and like when I was looking at that, the players were about, I think, 1.4. The DAO had a good amount. Land was at 1.4. Company was real low, but like that was kind of where we were. And then now seeing where we're at, players are still right about 1 billion. So that almost feels like what is necessary for normal liquidity and like buying assets, and like that's just gonna be what exists within player accounts. The DAO is up at 3 billion now, but land stake really hasn't changed so much. I think it's gone from 1.2 to 1.4. but the company is only sitting on 359 million. So like they're not sitting on a bunch. So like we printed from 5.4 to 6.4, we printed a billion DEC. And I think for the most part, it's all in the Dow at this point. So like I don't even think we come back from 6.4. Like because looking at the player distribution and looking at what the company has, those are like the two main liquid pools, I would say. Um, and those are kind of where they were pre Conclave Arcana.
I think we've
Elmo
called this
Burns.
website out.
Great
Oh,
website. Yeah.
Elmo Burns, yeah. Shout out to I forget who created this thing. Curry Piker, maybe. So shout out
Freaking
to you.
awesome. I was
This
looking at
website's
that
sweet.
today. Yeah, for SPS. Yeah.
Yeah, so what you were just saying, Rouge, the holdings are not massive anywhere here. And the Dow is holding on to just under 45% of all of that with 2.9
Yeah.
billion. Yeah, it feels like we've really rounded the corner on a lot of this albatross stuff that has really weighed us down over the last couple of years. Chaos is gone out of modern.
Mhm.
We're getting new game modes. The economics feel sound. We're moving in the
Yep.
right direction.
The wild pass is good. There's no real farming, I
Yep.
think. Um,
DEC's been hanging at peg for a while now.
hmm Yeah,
That's
that's
so
dope.
big, man. That's so
That's
big.
Right
huge.
there.
I don't even look at the
Yeah.
market to flip SPS anymore. I just chuck it into the furnace every day.
Nice.
It's great.
Damn. I still haven't burned a single SPS. I got to do that one of these days. I swap. I still swap
Uh,
because I'm
and
a greedy
we're
bastard.
we're coming up on I don't know if
100.
this is right. It's saying 831. Oh, this is today. Never mind. How
Yeah,
much
on
SPS have we
Splinter
burnt?
cards, we're on 228, 228 million burned.
Yeah, so we're coming up on that
10%.
10% mark.
Yep, 300,000.
Yeah,
That's
it's
going to
what,
be a big
seven
one.
and a half,
How
seven and a
cool
half
would it
percent.
be if we had if Jimmy comes in, he decides to burn that 10% mark if we got a title. If Jimmy just got
Ooh, if you hit
magically,
certain milestones,
yeah, you hit certain
it's a good idea.
milestones, whether it's as like an economy as a whole, or maybe Jimmy burns a total of 1 million SPS by himself. Like I feel like if we could gamify all of this stuff, because
Yeah,
right
you're
now,
gonna
like you say what, Jimmy?
incentivize. You'll incentivize. If you could gamify, you incentivize even more. People are going to be dying to hit that milestone. If there is a freaking title that you get at the 10 million burn mark, people are going to be waiting and throwing SPS in the furnace to hit that, to get that title just for the
Yeah,
bragging rights, I think.
totally. And this
And
this is a
this
shout
where
out to
those
Blaze. This was Blaze, a conversation
is
I had
it?
with Blaze. Yeah.
See, and this is one of the things that I thought about when I don't know, I saw Bulldog stream or somebody's like this whole SPS burn cycle that you can do. Like you can take a certain amount of SPS, burn it, make the DEC, buy the SPS, burn the SPS, make the DEC, and like do that until you're out of SPS, right? So that way, like you're burning way more of your circulation, and I feel like these types of incentives or that type of like burn manipulation, I don't know, like I'm of the opinion that like we don't have to force it at this point. Like it will just happen naturally. And so like I don't ever want to like I don't want to like have somebody stretch to burn the next 80 million for a title if that puts DEC off peg, for I don't know, another couple months. You know what I mean? Like we're here. We're at peg, like demand, supply, like it's doing its thing. So like I don't want to there's no incentive necessary except just keep making products that require us to spend DEC.
Fun
That's
and
fair.
competition incentive in itself. I don't think we'd see so much burning that it would just destroy the DEC peg. If we gave you a title at 10 million or something,
Well,
you
there's
really
going to
think
be
that?
there's going to be somebody on the other side who's watching for that DEC to fall below peg and just hoover it up right away.
Mhm.
As long as the product is there, to your point,
Exactly. As long as the demand's there.
that's going to happen. I mean, as I was talking to Blaze, and I thought it was a great idea. He had the idea of trying to like gamify the whole system, and as we were talking about it, I was thinking about watching Bulldog stream. I think he was the first one to do like the burnathon and ended up burning an absolute shit ton of SPS, which was awesome. And in hindsight, it didn't hurt the ecosystem at all. Like we fell below peg a little bit, but there were guys like Matt who were watching the stream and sniping the market to pick it all up so that he could go even harder on the pre-sale. But it's such a clinical, technical process. Like there's nothing sexy about watching SPS get burned, right? So for the outside observer who doesn't understand Splinterlands, doesn't know what's going on. Well,
Very sexy.
as
Burn. Damn it.
I mean, you're as an outside observer, you don't have any context for what's actually happening. So I think if we could gamify it a little bit and actually provide some UX to convey the message of what's happening, I feel like that suddenly makes a much more compelling stream for something like an SPS burnathon, which, yeah, I mean, I get your point, Rogue, but the other side, like, that's kind of the beauty of SPS, right? Like that's a cool, unique facet of what we got cooking here.
Yeah, one way.
Yeah. All right. Well, collector's aspect. So in testing, we didn't have, I'm thinking about how good this set looks now versus what we were seeing in test. And there's a part of me that, I'm looking for stick figure Bren, for example.
Yeah.
Everything we were playing with, maybe there were some like rough sketches and most of it was stick figure art.
Yeah,
We had
most of it
no
was,
idea what the final character was going to look like.
yep, unrendered. Just what is this?
Yeah. Yeah. We also had no glimpse into what Black Foil's arcanes, Gold Foil arcanes, Black Foil arcanes were going to look like. Well, now we're here. I don't know if I'll ever see a Gold Foil arcane or Black Foil arcane in my collection, but I can always admire them elsewhere. But the collector's side of Splinterlands is in full effect in a way that we have only talked about previously. There were certain guys, shout out to Gold Matters, who's always harped on, collectability. Dave is a huge collector. Blaze is a big collector. But now that it's here, what are y'all's thoughts on the collector side of Splinterlands? Is it kind of achieving what you imagined it would? Does it strike your fancy at all? Do you feel like it's pulling on the strings of your desire to compete in the collector's world of Splinterlands?
Jimmy?
Well, I think it's a home run concept. It's something we've been missing. It's one of those missing pieces from Splinterlands for years. Again, go back to, around the time Chaos came out years ago, the pack projects on wax were popping up like freaking like flowers after rainfall. And there was just the whole thing was there were chase cards and there were collectors things, and all these pack projects were making tons of money without even a good game or even a working game, as people were just chasing those rare cards from packs. Collecting is very real. We know that in real world. We see it's translated to the digital world, and it's a huge evolution for Splinterlands, I believe, seeing the collector aspect finally introduced. It's freaking awesome. Huge thank you to Dave and Blaze for getting that done in time, for pushing to get that done in time for Carne Asada to come out, because that definitely changed everything. I don't think we would have seen the sales volume we would have without that collector's aspect in there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm glad that they've created something that is of chase and of value for collectors and that's appealing to them. Um, it doesn't specifically do anything for me. I'm actually the guy that does the opposite. But that was really like in the normal trading card world, if I show up to a Grand Prix and my deck doesn't have any foil, it doesn't matter. Like I still win the tournament with those cards because they weren't foiled. So I never viewed foiling as something that I had to have in my deck because there was no value in it because the cards played the same for me. So Splinterlands is a little bit different because these foils have increased rewards when you actually pull them or when you play with them, and they increase your SBS per win. And so a count that is fully blinged out with the same win rate as mine will make more money. And so there is an appeal to that, and I think that that's pretty cool. But I think what I've liked the most about what I've seen right now is that they've created something to chase and for something to big accounts to assign value to that does not affect the price negatively of what I need to buy in order to play the game. And that's huge.
Yeah, that's huge.
That
That's
is
huge. That balance.
absolutely huge. So, like, I
Yeah.
believe that with this current setup, I don't know if we'll see legendary summoners do what like Kitty did or what Yoden did because there's going to be multi tiers. Like, if somebody wants to put in 15 grand into chasing like a high level summoner, that might get them two or three cards of the upper tier instead of, a bunch at like the same tier that like your $20 account's trying to buy. You know what I mean? So like that distribution of funds, I think, is really what we see in the market right now. I think that's why like uh Infidel made the video about the gold foil commons. Like that's a real thing. For some reason, these gold foils are within striking distance of what the regular foils are because
That's
of the
always been the
arcanes.
case. No, that's always been the case, man. I've been going back to Untamed. If you pay attention, you could snag a maxed gold foil, common or rare, for the same price as a maxed
No way.
regular foil. Oh
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I was doing that with Untamed. I was doing that with Chaos. I
I
did that a
think
couple of times.
there's,
Rebellion. You just got to watch and wait. And
is that
people
at the
dump.
beginning part of the launch though?
I'd say it's averaged out. It's like a cost average thing.
Because
And it
what
happens at
I've,
random times. You just got to
okay.
watch.
What
You got
I've
to
seen
watch.
in the past is like generally that's just like the lack of liquidity in maxed out cards, and like really the market of that. Like to move one card worth $100 is a lot harder to move than a card worth $1. You know what I mean? So like that maxed out stuff is usually where I think sometimes that's happened. But I was seeing it and I was thinking that, it was really because of the arcanes, because of the black foils, it's created some separation between the people that normally would collect those and they're going for that next tier, which dropped the price of the tier that they normally played in.
Yeah, I
Because
think
that
that's
same 20 grand
valid.
is
Yeah.
just not there anymore. It's up here. And
Mm.
so that's what I'm most excited that, that collector's aspect has dropped the price of the standard set and that it does not affect the gameplay for anybody coming in. Like they've
Well, has it
created,
dropped the price though of the
oh yeah.
standard set? I mean, I'm looking at like you guys were just talking about $15 legendaries, man. Yoden was $12. 12 to 16 I bought Yoden's. Kron was $2. And then
Yeah, but
once
that was a
Chaos,
$2 pack.
yeah, but so double that then. Kron would be $4 and Yoden would have been 24
Yeah.
for the best summoner in the deck at the time.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's a weird dynamic That's hard to really say there's any one thing. I think you have an incredibly valid point. Everything you're saying is definitely true, and I think is definitely affecting the price for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. But I'm still waiting for it to be, and I think part of why we're not seeing as many cards, out there. Again, a lot of people are buying the more expensive packs that give less single
Hmm.
cards, and it's still expensive. Like I'm not in a position right now, well, with SPS at a penny, to be buying $150 legendaries consistently. That's like it's going to be a slow build up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's only I picked Bren is the highest priced
Okay, that's the
legendary
highest.
card.
What are some low legendaries? Or are we looking at low?
Average is so per BCX, Decrepit Ones here is the most affordable at 545 per BCX.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's awesome, actually.
That's under
Good
60
to hear.
bucks. Yeah.
Yep,
Or right
that's
around
good.
60 bucks.
Mhm.
The average is, if you exclude Bren, which is interesting. I feel like Skinwalker is probably more valuable than Bren. Maybe I'm in the minority there.
It's
I
the
don't know
weapons
if
training. There's
you
just
think it's the
the
weapons training.
1,000%. There was just that whole rebellion set is just juiced for weapons training, but the majority of the weapons trainers were chaos reward cards. And so like really the only weapons trainers we have right now are the rare and rage and the legendary in blue. And I think that's it. It's like
Fire's
three.
got the ranged guy.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, you
green
might be
doesn't
right.
have one.
Yeah, Green's
Um,
got the dinosaur, right? You never see it. I never play
oh
it.
God, you're right. Crocs are Crocs.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
French
sorry.
dinosaur.
Non-melee weapons trainers. Nobody uses them.
Yeah, there
I
you
think
go.
Jangles just improved your win rate there, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like things are at still a little bit of hype pricing. I expect things to continue to settle out. I don't think there's any way, like,
Until conflicts start, then that shit's gonna disappear again, man.
yeah.
I think
Well, I
We'll
maybe,
see.
mean,
maybe.
We'll see what the cost of like making wagons and all that stuff. There's going to be a balance there, and it'll be interesting. But to your point, 10 legendaries are less than $10 per BCX. So
yeah.
10 of, what was it? 2, 4, 10 of 16 are less than
Mhm.
$10. So
That's cool. That's still high in my mind. That's not incredibly accessible, but it's not as bad as it's been. So there's a balance to be found. I still think it's a little inaccessible. I mean, just saying, like those $2 crowns, man, that was something. But then bringing
that
back
was
what you were
something.
saying about the old point was, never seeing Yodens and kitties again. I think part of why we saw that was again because you were earning $5 to $8 a battle if you were playing champ.
And there was nothing on the shelf to buy.
Yeah. So I mean, if SPS goes up and up and up, and you're making a couple bucks per battle, you're
And
gonna see,
Splinterlands isn't
prices.
selling something for $4, then yeah.
Price is gonna go up. I think
Yep.
still price will go up for those overpowered cards, regardless. If you're getting paid enough per win, that's going to drive value big time. It's going to drive players to the game. It would drive value to those cards too.
Hmm.
But that was just insane, and I don't know if that could ever realistically happen again. Unless SPS rages in the near future.
I
Yeah.
I really struggle with that. Sounds exciting. I don't ever want that to come back to Splinterlands. Uh, it's unsustainable. It brings the wrong personality type to the game. It's yeah, we're playing with fire there, and I can't help but think we get burnt that way. So I'm super excited. We've heard uh we talked to Dave a couple episodes ago. They talked about it on Town Hall. Like what are cool rewards that are not SPS? uh, and I'm super excited to see what does the team come up with there. I think there's a lot of room for creativity and flexing some of the great minds that we've got both internally on the team and outside in the community. I think there's a we are chock full of sharp and brilliant folks that are able to think outside the box and present some very creative ideas there. But before
Agreed.
yeah, but before we shift gears, I do want to talk about the black foil market, and I see prices that I want to buy. I have never been a gold foil first guy. I just want to play. I just want to play the bloody game, have fun, hang out with buddies, and shoot the shit. Black foils have stirred something up in me that I feel like might not be the best for my bank account, but I think they are a no-brainer at these prices, man. Because I'm looking at, let's look at a gold foil epic as an example versus a black foil counterpart. So, Lucky, this is one gold foil I did chase day one. I love this card. Uh, I got a black foil. Its CP is 26,000 at max level. Its black foil counterpart is 131,000. So 5x on CP. And one black my I think I shared it previously. I pulled a black foil Tay in my opening packs. That card has 262,500 CP.
Jesus, that's insane.
That by itself is equivalent to 5 max gold foil legendary cards. So, I think we're going to see the market respond as we get closer to conflicts and the announcement of what those, what are all the details financially as they relate to, wagons and repairs and, guaranteed chances per total chances, yada, yada. I can't help but think that these common and rare black foils, anything under $200, I feel like is a no-brainer. And just the amount of chances that even the common cards are going to deliver through the conflicts. Taylor Swift using Rebellion numbers. Shout out to Paul TRX. He did the rough math, and by herself, she pretty much guarantees me one card.
A max
card. Not a max card, but a guaranteed airdrop card. If she was the only card I was going to stake on a wagon, I would come out the other side with at least one BCX guaranteed.
And it's Taylor Swift.
It's Lore Swift, Tay. Yeah.
Yeah. Be clear.
Tay Splifty. Bunch of bring them on, man. Let's talk. 20%. Come on, Taylor Swift lawyers, legal team.
Yeah, get her on there. No such thing as bad press, man. Someone has to know her and send.
She can come on People's Guild. We'll talk about it. Bam. She's welcome anytime.
Bam, get her on there. But plus, not to mention the 20% SPS bonus in battles for black foils. Also seriously, if I had the cash, I'd be collecting black foils right now. Like if stuff was pumping, when SPS hits $1, I'll probably be collecting black foils in future sets. Right now, no, I'm gonna have to pass. But future sets, I do hope to be collecting black foils.
I gotta say, those cards look freaking badass, man. The black foils are so good looking.
They are.
Yeah, they absolutely look amazing.
Yeah, with the color, with the sheen.
Yep.
Home run, and it's just starting. We're getting more of that. So glad that happened.
What do you think? Do you think the next reward set's going to have some black foils in it?
I think it's got to.
I think so too, right?
Oh,
it's the theme.
Black foils.
I would say that I would say that there's no way that we can hit. Like, has anybody done the math on like how much CP is out there in circulation?
So I
Like
was looking at
currently?
so my personal account, Rebellion, I think I've got the common summoners in gold foil. I've got maybe like Mana Warden in gold
Whoa.
foil and a couple of common random cards. My total CP for a pretty much there's like one or two of the Holo Legends cards I didn't max out, but my total CP is under 425,000. My Conclave set, I still got a long ways to go. I am just south of a million CP.
Yeah, so that's where this is one of my biggest concerns with the mage wagons coming up here is like
Yeah.
I'm actually wondering if black foils completely like pushed out the standard player from being able to like earn airdrops because I almost feel like mathematically it has to. It has to because if me with just like a standard max deck, like if I can still get an airdrop, then how many airdrops are these other accounts getting? And then how many of these legendaries are being printed, far exceeding what is currently already opened and circulating within the market. You know what I mean?
I
That's
don't
my
think it,
biggest concern is that the amount of CP currently is just going to make it that it's impossible. Like they have to curtail the amount of printings that they do in the
I don't
On the
know,
top
man.
end, but I
I
don't
don't
know.
think they can do that. Like that would feel like a slight against pushing for the chase on black foils, right?
well, think about it like this, okay? So like right now, okay, right now, Sheng Zhao has 2,618 BCX. Can you print more than 2,618 cards of your first airdrop? Probably not.
How did it go with Rage? Do you remember? I think it
Yeah.
was 4,000 copies, but I don't remember.
So they do it by here's this amount of copies, and then that's divided up per
Yeah.
CP. It's not like CP generates, then however many is printed.
Well,
It's a
I think
limit.
what they did was they did the math and they communicated to the public it's this amount of CP in order to get a card. But realistically,
Ah,
behind the scenes, they had already done all the math to figure out how not to like overprint. So
overprint, right? Because we
So
did
let's
have
go
the overprint
Rage. I feel like
in chaos.
Rage was overprinted. And if you remember, they had to make a correction after that because Rage is actually the highest printed legendary in the set at 5,800 copies.
Whoa.
And the next airdrop would have been Kai at 5,200. So they had a serious miscalculation on Rage. And so that's just like a prime example. So like you can't use Rage's math at this point because, or let's just say the least printed card right now is Elias Max Pruitt. So the EMP card is 4,500, 4,600 currently. Tofu's 46.3. Squirrel's 48. So, but like currently, there is half of those in the only legendary summoner currently in print
Rogue,
in
I'm seeing
regular foil.
sorry to cut you off. I'm seeing very different numbers on my side.
Where
Where are
are
you
you? Where you
looking?
look at Peak Monsters?
Yeah, I'm on Peak Monsters. I'm seeing so like Nidhogger, 4,300.
Oh,
So
sorry. I was looking at so I was in Rebellion data, I was on Splinter cards, but let me look up Rebellion here.
A Kane is almost 5,000. Pruitt is almost 4,400.
Did Splinter
Lorcas is
cards just give up?
4,800. Yeah, I don't know. T-Hawks is I keep checking to see if Splinter Cards has the like set value on Conclave because I'm really curious what.
Yeah.
what that
Seems
looks
like it's a
like.
pretty hard thing to make happen correctly mathematically because we had the overprinting with the first three airdrops in Chaos Legion too.
Yeah.
Grum, Isa, and the Death Opportunity range. What's her name?
Well, because,
Lyra.
Yep.
theoretically, like you have to have a calculation in place of like how much CP is currently existing, how much CP would you generate naturally through packs, and then like try to figure out like, because you could basically say this is all the CP in circulation, and then do your math and be like, all right, to produce the same amount of legendary cards that are currently in existence, this is what we have to do. And then if
Yeah.
everybody rushes to open more packs, then it throws your math out the window. But yeah, you're right. They did. They messed up what Uriel, Bakshira, and
No,
yeah.
not them. Grum, Isa, and Lyra the Dark. Those were the three.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Those were the
Mm.
first ones.
After Rage was dropped, they almost immediately said, "Well, we made the guaranteed BCX chances a little bit too low. I think it was
Yep.
200, and then
Yep.
they bumped it to 300 or 250, and then they went
Yeah.
increments of 25, something
Yep.
like that."
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
man,
kind of
you're
feel like
right.
they've got to they I I really
Well, just
struggled with the idea of if I have a max regular foil deck, it's staked on wagons. I should get pretty damn close to a max card on the first airdrop.
You should.
I I think everything should be baselined off of regular foil. Otherwise, what's the point of, where's the chase on black foils? If
I
it's
mean the chase on black foils is that's the almost the exclusive way you're about to get airdrops.
That's not good. That can't happen. If that
Well,
happens, that
you
pisses
tell
off
me
the
how
community.
mathematically that's not going to happen. Like somebody
Man, I
tell
don't
me
know.
that the
You bring
CP is
up a
not
very good
through
point
the
there.
roof right now, and like you've only got 2,000 and some legendary summoners currently in circulation. So there's only one way to go about this. You either overprint the airdrops and
Right.
like far exceed 2,000 copies of what we're currently doing, or like he's scale back CP, you know, or not scale back CP, but like you make the CP requirements for a copy crazy. Cause I mean, that's what they did, or change the rules of airdrops. Like maybe the company has to just bite the bullet and know that like they've assigned a bunch of value to a black foil. It has great land value, it has great SPS earnings, it's rare. Maybe it just doesn't do like maybe collection power is not how we're doing mage wagons. I don't know. But if somebody can tell me mathematically how we're getting out of this without, like, go right ahead. But I can't figure it out. So there's your little soothsayer for Rogue. That's what I think's gonna
And the
happen first.
gauntlet has been thrown
Yeah,
by
yeah.
RoguePatton, stirring it up. Let's see what happens. No, it's
At
not. It's,
me.
I was thinking about that too, and I just thought, that what would end up being happen was there'd be a lot more airdrop cards printed, for better or for worse. But I guess we'll see.
I'll tell you what, and maybe we will get those $2 Yodins, Jimmy.
I would love that, man. My whole philosophy was Untamed was like such a goal, like a beautiful era and a target of how things should be, I think. Affordable while in print. And then if you're increasing your player base exponentially, continuously, it goes up. Once it's out of print, it's gonna be going up. So it should be affordable in print, what you said before, made a great point. You like how right now their collectability factor does not affect gameplay. People could buy those expensive ass cards, which I think is awesome that we have that. But the way that it doesn't affect gameplay, and you could go with a regular foil deck and kick someone's ass with a full black foil.
Yes, I can.
I
Well, what do you think about so in my mind, commons and legendaries, there should be a discrepancy in price. There should be a multiplier there. I don't know what that multiplier should look like. Maybe it's 2x, maybe it's 3x. Uh,
What do you mean?
like a max common, say, costs $20. A max legendary should cost 50, $60, somewhere in there. Uh, that's what we're seeing for a lot of this stuff. Like a lot of these max commons are
Yeah, they range
20,
between 25
20
and
and 30.
50. Yep.
Yeah. And then the legendaries, like we talked about a little bit earlier, I don't know. I kind of feel like that's a good range. I think these
That's
prices
not
are
bad.
probably going to push folks to, I don't know what it was like back in the day at $2 Jotens. I would have to imagine at that time
No,
it was still
$12 Yodis. 12,
$12
not
Jotens.
two. Two
I would
dollars
have
bronze.
I would have to imagine that it was still a very top heavy game, and a lot of folks at those prices were competing with max decks, max cards. I
Hmm.
feel like here I want the leagues to get filled out. I want, we've talked about this a lot, Jimmy, over, the last year. We should see a world where 80% of our player base is playing bronze and silver.
Yeah,
We should have a
that's true.
very solid foundation in the lower leagues. And like Rogue, the first time we ever had you on, we talked about, at that point, you and I were both silver gold guys, and slowly making our way up, and that has pretty much completely disappeared over the last 2 years. But I think the way that things are looking now, in conjunction with all the new player stuff that's coming in, it's reintroducing that as a viable reality for incoming new players that don't have 20 grand to drop on a max modern set.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. A healthy lower ecosystem would be glorious. I want to
Yeah.
see 1 million bronze players. That's my personal goal. I want to see 1 million bronze players one day in my lifetime.
Dave has every intention of doing that. So does Blaze.
I know it.
Let's freaking
Bam.
go.
Let's
Bam.
go. Bam. Do it.
Wow.
Well,
You want some crazy data?
No.
crazy data, bring it on. Yes.
Of course. Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so just for craps, because last time I was on here, we had talked about it. So I went to Splinter Stats. Love their data, and I'm looking at like this first season of Conclave Arcana, trying to figure out kind of where the meta's at, and it's kind of interesting. It's matching, like in Champion, you know. I guess one looking at this, the distribution in battles in Modern is looking pretty healthy. Of the there was 12,000 battles in Modern, in Novice and Bronze, 6,000 silver, 8,000 gold, or almost 9,000 gold, 9.7 in Diamond, and 4.5 in Champ. So like I'm happy to see as many Novice and Bronze matches, because that's kind of matching that influx that we have. But then looking at the meta in Champion right now, it's like 41%, 42% Tofu, 34% Locust or Lorcus, 24% Cryptic, 10% Squirrel, 18% Arcane. The first of the Rebellion summoners to show up with a win rate above 50% is actually Kavor. So that's awesome. Like
Interesting.
the little league dragon summoner, you know what I mean? Like that actually has a 52% win rate, but it's only got a 3% usage. Everything else just kind of like tapers off from there. The next highest played of the summoners is our Ulund Prunda. Razzy's only at 2.9% play. So like I just don't think they have them right now.
Yeah, I think that's got to be what the X factor is just availability, right?
Yep, because it's the exact same in Diamond. Sheng has got the highest usage, but it's below the 50% win rate. Everything above a 50% win rate is all the legendary summoners from Rebellion. In gold, looks like Shang's got a 61% win rate. Fifth or Bladestone is right below the 50%, but the highest usage is 6.37. So like yeah, they're not producing wins at the level. So like even in silver, Tofu, Nidhogg, Lorcus, Elias Pruitt, Cryptic, Kane, Squirrel, Shang's there within there, but yeah. Silver is where we're starting to see some of the other summoners come up with a win rate, but these legendaries still dominate, even in bronze. Absolutely dominate. So, yeah, that's why that data right there is why I spent, instead of spending $700 on Conclave Arcana, I went into the legendary summoners of Rebellion, knowing that that is like I'm mirroring this with Chaos Untamed. Like I believe that the Untamed summoners were absolutely amazing. Some of them far exceeded the other ones, and I believe we've got the exact same thing in Rebellion. And they've got all the battle data to prove it. So like the rentals, as new players come in, the rentals will be good on those. The selling data, like that should increase on all of those. So that's where I put my chips, and I'm glad the battle data is kind of backing it up there.
That's awesome. Smart move there, Jimmy. Has the price shifted since you did your buying spree?
No.
Nice.
No.
So it's not too late for the rest of us, is what we're saying.
Yeah. No, I don't think
Man,
I haven't. And
not
honestly, I
financial
didn't.
advice.
Not financial advice. So yeah, looking at the legendary summoners in Rebellion, they're all still. I mean, a Kane I got for 20 is currently at like 25. Squirrel I got for 18s at 21. Cryptic I
Well, it's up
bought.
a little bit, man. That adds up when you have to get 11 of them.
Cryptic I swept the floor, and I think I got it around 25 or something like that. So it's about there. And then yeah, haven't touched any of the other ones, but
Well, I think
yep.
people are still selling non Conclave Arcana cards to buy Conclave Arcana packs. I do. Like I'm still buying land cards and I'm just keeping my eye open and I'm watching, price goes down a little bit. I'll do some floor sweeping. I notice other people do floor sweeping too. I'll be like saying, "Oh, there's some good bargains." When I get home later, maybe I'll grab some and they're
And
gone.
they're gone.
So yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
You know what's
What
really
movie is that
crazy?
from?
Yeah.
Uh, what is that? What movie is that from?
I'm trying to remember. It's that guy. There's like a hurricane or some crazy supernatural shit going on. The guy's like, "It's happening," and I can't remember. I was talking about that with my wife the other day, and we could not find what that was.
Uh,
Like Close Encounters of the Third Kind came to mind. We didn't watch it to confirm or not, but that was an option. And there was maybe a different '80s movie of some sort. It might have been
I feel like
like
it's
a
from a
weird science.
comedy.
Yeah, like Weird Science or something like that. I don't know. That was just a random. I don't think it was Weird Science, but oh, maybe. Who knows?
Mm, I don't think I've ever
Anyway,
seen that, but that rings a bell. Anyways, so crazy stat, llama, there are right around 4,400 BCX available. Nidhogger under 4,300. You know,
Uh,
we've talked about and acknowledged that rebellion is there is less rebellion in the world than untamed, but seeing these numbers, that's just crazy, man. and
So
it's
question
done and
for
dusted.
statistics. When a card is combined to max, does it count in the statistics as a single BCX or still
No,
11?
11.
No, it's still
So
11.
yeah, so there's two stats. There's total BCX and total cards.
Okay, so total cards is when they're combined, it becomes one. Total BCX is
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Blockchain. Gotta love it.
Blockchain.
Bam.
Kitty, I think, is still the least printed of all of them. There's less than 4,000.
Yeah.
And Nidhogger was the least printed of Rebellion with 4,300. How about Nitty, dude? I love this card, dude.
Your favorite card now?
I
It has
mean,
value.
man, Conclave, and we've the three of us have all had a little bit of a sneaky peeky at airdrop number one. I'm hoping it doesn't get changed. I don't know if I'm violating. I don't know if I'm violating any NDA.
Yeah, I was
but
about to say, I don't think you could literally say anything right now. We gotta walk that back.
Oh, it's
But
a
I
dragon
agree.
card. It's a dragon card. Nidhogger is about to get a lot more fun. I might need to preview this with the powers that be
Right.
and make sure I can say that. But
Yeah,
that card is
We had
badass.
an episode,
That's
but between Robot Jimmy and dropping too much alpha, we just had to put that one in the archives.
But yeah, man, Nidhogger is so much fun. I was talking with Tofu about Keelan Gaines. That guy is absolutely everywhere. He's so good with Nidhogger. He's great with Lorcus.
Oh yeah,
You could play him with
he's a
Cryptic.
staple.
Super versatile. I kind of questioned the idea of Dragon and initially.
Yeah.
But now I love it. Like that, like plus he's a rare card.
hmm
So he's widely available, which is so much fun. And he's still available in the voucher shop.
Yeah.
I might have to pick up some extras there.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
a great
Just
card, man.
have to.
Yeah, he's at $170 right now. The interesting part about him, though, and this is where it's like, I don't really know, is he stellar? Like, are you still paying 8 mana for that kind of speed and magic without the double strike? And that's what, like, I don't play in those leagues so much anymore, but like, I feel like that's such a sacrifice to come off of double strike because one silence and you have like severely overpaid for this guy, I think. I mean, 5 speed's still pretty quick for Silver League. So maybe the backfire phase, like 5 speed, is worth the cost in Silver League. Somebody might have to let us know in the chat, like who plays regularly, like is he worth it other than max level?
I wonder if
That's
he just plays a different role down there. I think of him as like an Oceanus alternative now. You can almost tank with him because he
as
is
long
so
as he's
fast. He's
dodging.
got the phase. He's
Yeah.
got the backfire. You get blind from somebody like Cryptic.
Oh yeah, he's hard to touch.
Yeah.
Hard to touch, and that's kind of part of the meta right now. True Strike's big in the meta right now. You almost have to account for it. That's why it's like, I have like there's two things from testing that are always ringing in my mind. I've always got you in the back of my head anytime I'm running
Whooping
Nidhogg,
some
and
ass.
no, you're just always in the back of my head like it's never blast. It's never blast, and I'm like, oh, it's
Always
never
execute.
blast. It's
Always execute. Yep.
We had that one match, and I was like, "Yeah, blast," and you're like, "It's never blast." It's always, and I was like, "Oh God, he's right." It's interesting. Like that Nidhogg difference between the blast and the execute, or the blast versus execute, is like where you assign value, and that execute actually generates more value and that +2 speed than the blast more times than not because you're actually fully wiping something off the board. You're gaining that monster advantage instead of like spreading the damage. Like, how many matches do you lose where they still have like 2 or 3 health left and you're like, like that execute like really does exactly as prescribed. It kills it, gets it off the board, and you get that monster advantage, and it just carries. So yeah, but yeah, somebody's gonna have to let us know. But that Nidhogg, and then the other thing that has been in the back of my mind, which is crazy. So shout out to Royal because he absolutely loves this card, and I didn't during testing. He was like, "Dude, do you love this?" And I was like, "No, I hate it. Like this card sucks." But it is actually super meta right now. Is our little kitty cat? Where's our
Oh,
little
Leo
cat?
Lin.
Leo Lin Saifu is like the card in Diamond right now. Holy crap. I called this out on our stream. First time I saw it was Bulldog, so I'm still giving Bulldog credit for this. Um, but that dude in the EMP matches and in the even in tofu matches, like you can still, depending on the rule set, get away with this guy in position 2. He just runs. I feel like the most satisfying thing that happened to me this week was that thing one-shotted a GBS. And I was just like, I'm sold all day, all day. Like, you are my favorite cat, and I'm a dog person. So,
Well, to be fair, I think for most of testing, we had a very different kit, right? Like it used to have Last Stand, and I think the
yeah.
Relentless Strike
Oh,
was
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. Remember if it had
Was
True
True Strike
Strike?
there?
Yeah, I don't remember if that was there. But this card, as it currently lives, and as it will forever live, uh,
It's
is
huge.
yeah, it's mad. I love
Huge.
taking down Slade or Bara or Grimbardoon or Mantaroth. You think you're safe
Just
with your shield? Yeah. Hold on.
meow.
Yeah.
Meow.
Yeah, that card is
Yeah,
sweet,
so
man.
shout out Royal. Yeah, you did it. You made it. I like it now. Sorry it took me so long to see it.
Yeah, Relentless Strike is fun, man. I think folks are sleeping on the
That's a great ability.
Mondroid and I. I think some other folks have picked up on it too, but the Grimward Ruin Shot, the 7 mana neutral, Relentless Strike piercing.
Yeah.
Mondroid and I were kind of geeking out as this is like the silent sneaker
Mm-hmm.
pick for one of the winners on Conclave. Uh, yeah, that
Yeah,
Relentless
can
Strike is just such a game changer, man.
are we allowed to kind of talk about like some of the changes that we made along the way?
Yeah, why
Or
not?
like anything? I don't know. Because like I think that was one of the things that like was really good that came across that is that Relentless Strike. Relentless Strike, that rework from what it was to where it's at now is like so clean and so good. I love it. Like I didn't understand what the ability was trying to do before when we were originally looking at it. And but the what it's doing today is top notch.
I agree.
Top notch.
I think the original intention of the ability was released publicly, anyways. Uh, I think like
We're just gonna
no, we're just
I
hedging
don't
our
know
bets
either.
here. We're just hedging our bets here. Yeah.
This
But
is
it
the
was
band episode.
it was confusing and it was kind of overly complicated. Now it's simple, it's straightforward, and
Streamlined and
I think
has a
it's a
lot of
big win.
value. Yep.
And one of the cards that I haven't seen really make it into the meta is the other epic that has Relentless Strike is the Little League dude, the Brewer.
Oh yeah. I
Uh,
play with him often. I don't win a lot, but I love him.
yeah, I love I still have a level 3. He's one of the next cards on my list to get leveled up. But Relentless Strike, Charge, True Strike, Immunity, 4 mana. Comes with a little bit of armor. I feel like he's a really sneaky pick with EMP. because he can just hit like a truck. If you've got a Mantroth or a Grim Bardoon, he could get damn near wiping him from the table
Mm-hmm.
in one shot.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at I was like, this is one of the cards that I would buy the black foil for because I just appreciate it so much. It is such a good looking card. Sadly, there are none on the market, and
What are you looking at? Which one?
the Furious Brewer. The dude is brewing his beer with an axe. Come on,
Ah.
man. That's the best dwarf ever.
And not to
Stirring
mention he
his.
gets the void with the and +2 armor with the dwarf summoner.
Yep. Nah, he's a
What's he
good card.
brewing there? What's he brewing?
I
It's
think
got
it's
to be a
beer.
brewski.
Is it beer?
Big
The
old
weird
beer.
color here. I'm looking at it there. It's in a cauldron. What's he pouring in there? Acorns or something?
Yeah, maybe. uh,
I think one of the it's kind of funny. I think one of the cheapest and this is what I was telling everybody on or the stream I did for the new people is the one of the cheapest epics on the market right now is probably a bronze staple, and that's the abysmal or the abyssal elemental,
I
like
love
that
that card.
blue. The fact that it resurrect or it has the resurgence in bronze is flipping huge. That's like a 410 for 6 in bronze. Like I was telling everybody on the stream, like sadly, I think one of the bronze spam teams that you can do is that with the Shang guy. There's not a lot people can do about that. Like double poison burst with the kind of a resurrection. That's just a lot between those two for 11 mana. Like that's a lot.
Good
So
looking
like
card.
but also really fun.
That
I
artwork is sick.
haven't found a
Yeah.
way to get it going in Champion though. Like it's just never a card that I go to in
Yeah,
Champion.
I feel like there's got to be some spots for it, right? Like maybe Magic only. I don't know.
Nah, because Keelan's just running town. Like it's the Magic teams are like pretty set at the end of the day, and like sadly, that's just I think where it's at right now. There's a lot of hate, and then so like, what does this resurgence get you? And in
It's
most
pretty low
matches,
health. Yeah. He's
in
pretty
most
low
Well, it's
matches,
health.
it
times
doesn't
two
give you
though.
much. Yeah,
It's
because it
times
just
two.
comes
So
right
it's
Yeah, I
back.
actually
get that. I
12.
get that. But easy to take out. That's the thing, I think. Exactly what Rogue's saying. He doesn't reach for him much in champ. But on
Mhm.
bronze, he's a freaking monster.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Well,
what I'm finding is like that, like, because one of the things that we were doing in testing was like, I was dropping like super poison burst. I was like, all right, let's just run like 2 resurrects, both with poison burst. Let's like 4 poison burst triggers. Let's see if we can survive a lot of this stuff. And like Tofu has a lot of sustain, and with it being 60% of the meta right now, like you're not really getting away with so much poison burst shenanigans in Tofu. So like that was really I haven't found a use for him outside of that yet.
you were the one that turned me on to the Poison Burst Summoner. I was kind of sleeping on that guy, but I reach for him all the time. If it's 12 mana, I'm going Dragon Summoner with Greybrow all day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
Yep.
I'm dropping
Yeah,
2 Poison Bursts on you.
that's a lot
Resurgence,
of value.
Thorns, Magic Reflects. Yeah. Greybrow is so much fun, man. That card is yeah, Resurgence is a very cool twist on a lot of the stuff that we've kind of seen in the past. Man, and I feel like there's so much here that we have yet to really sink our teeth into and
Mm-hmm.
see come to full fruition. Like the Painforge stuff, we saw how apey that could get in
Mm-hmm.
testing. we've barely scratched the surface. Like I very seldom come across a team that's leaning hard into
I
Painforge.
I think it's because, and at least this is where also, like in my testing, I remember it being all over the place, and now I literally can't find it. So, like, the interesting part about like my like scholar situation right now is I'm loaded on the Conclave Arcana, legendaries and epics. I have no rares and no commons, and so without those, I can't do those combos. They don't exist. So like that's part of like if my scholar or if my like beneficiary is in that boat, knowing as hard as they went into it, like I know all the other whales are in the same boat. They're not maxing out their commons because they don't have them. They don't have the rares. You know what I mean? They have like the amount of money that they put in did not produce the collections that they used to produce because of the value and the black foils and the arcanes and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I'm literally in that same boat. I'm like, I'm looking at the mana and I'm looking at the matchup and I'm like, I know what team this is. I don't have it. This is crap. I am getting really sick and tired at this point of being ran over by the flipping Cave Wise Wayfinder. That guy is driving me nuts. Like him and his giraffe buddy are like just killing me, and I want to play him too, but I don't have him. I'm like, man.
Shout out
So
Wayfinder, dude. That is a sick
shout out
card.
Wayfinder. That dude is a tank. He's a tank. Like Red was set up like, which is amazing because I think
Because it's the best element.
After Nomos, there was some respect that was needed to put on Red, and I'm glad that they did that.
Yeah, Jimmy, your fire squad might be
Always
the
have that. Yeah.
It's
well,
legit.
Drop a
It's
little.
legit. Red
Drop a
is
little.
good.
I'm not going to say anything. I was going to give a little something away. I'll tell you when we stop rolling. Remind me.
I think this one's already banned.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't do it. Don't be the one that.
I'm gonna have to
Don't
do a
do
bit
it.
of editing here, but yeah.
I'll bet.
Yeah, Fireman, but between Lorcus and Squirrel
Mm-hmm.
and the dragon
Squirrel.
plays that are available with Fire, Squirrel, I have
Squirrel's
been
awesome.
loving playing Squirrel lately. It's but whether it's the True Strike or it's a Fury rule set, and you just want to get some pesky, like carry card off of the opponent's
Yeah.
team.
No, there was a lot that like Squirrel now offers a lot of play that we just never had before. And your opponent also has to kind of run some Squirrel defense too, which is pretty interesting. And like I've talked about it before, but like historically I've never considered putting a taunt in any position other than 1 or 6. Those are the only places I've ever put a taunt monster. Now, because of Squirrel and because of its relevance in the meta, I oftentimes am putting a taunt monster in position 2 or 3 to make sure that like some taunt targets are protected just in case I'm going against a Squirrel, because that was something that like we kind of discovered in testing was like when we were trying to get around Craniacs. That was one of the ways was to target it specifically, so you had to protect it with your own taunter, and so those plays are then interesting, and so it's all just fun right now. I've caught like both like with my pants down and other people with their pants down, and Squirrel can absolutely take advantage of it. If you don't have your lineup set up right, you can totally get wrecked by a Squirrel.
I still
Uh,
like throwing on an enemy card too. Just like if you see something that you don't like, you'd be like,
Oh,
I'm taking
exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Love to.
I'll take the
also,
resurrection. It's worth it. Or I'll take the resurgence. It's worth it.
so
Hmm.
shout out to Mondroid. We ran into each other in ranked. We both played Squirrel. I think I taunted his number 3 monster
Mm-hmm.
only to
And he
push
taunted his
battle.
number 2.
Yes, and it completely derailed. You know, I was on the fence, like, do I go True Strike? I feel like Squirrel is one of the few legendary tactic summoners where it's really a game time audible, which makes
Hmm.
it so much fun because
Yeah.
you know there's merits to both, and I chose incorrectly, thinking that Mondroid was going to taunt one of my guys. So it's like, you know, it's a little bit of like 3D chess there. Like who's like where's Mondroid thinking? He played the safe call. Smart Mondroid, you
Well, he
bastard.
respected you more than you respected him. That's the fun part about like some of these play lines and everything, because like there's been many times when oh man, it's funny. You get into these chess matches, you're like, oh, what's my opponent gonna do? What has their record been like? What do they normally do? Like, are they thinking about this play line and all this stuff? And there's been many times where you could go down that far in the weeds. You're like 8 moves ahead of your opponent, and they're still back at move one. And like you just get wrecked because you've
You're
countered your counterplay,
overthinking.
the counter
Yeah.
7 times. It's
Yes.
just they didn't
Yeah.
do anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
they never
boy.
owned the card. That's another fun part that I do. Is like, oh man, I got to play around this. And I'm like, I don't own it. Oh, great.
Uh, yeah, things are in a fun spot right now, man. I'm really happy with the current state of most things with modern. You know, we
You
were
are
talking off.
560 matches.
Yeah, we were talking
You're a
about it
happy
off air a
boy.
little bit. I've been binging, man, and it doesn't feel like I'm not bored with it. It continues to be engaging and fun, and you know, maybe I'm penalized a little bit because I'm at a point where a lot of my opponents have more cards maxed out than I do,
Mhm.
but and also I want to experiment a little bit and try some funky stuff and see what lands and what doesn't. Uh, but for the most part, man, I'm having a blast with all of these new cards, and I feel like we're just scratching the surface as folks continue to get stuff ramped up and leveled up. We're going to see, you know, that kind of constantly evolving meta in champ. It's a fun time.
Yeah. No, it is a fun time.
I'm saying, I'm still buying a lot of land cards, so I'm definitely not as knowledgeable about the current CA set as you guys. So I'm taking notes,
I
a
love
little
it.
bit of both.
Boy, let's talk about the land stuff. So
Man.
what has gotten you, Rogue? I know you're proud owner of a keep. Is that right? Castle
Keep.
keep.
Yep.
Keep.
Uh,
Where at?
Jim.
Where's Keep?
Ah, you're gonna make me pull it up. I know you
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 don't
guys that
know?
love your
What?
land,
You
you
don't
know
know
right
where
where
your
you're
Keep
at. I don't
is?
know where I'm at.
Jeez. Did you just get it like
90s.
yesterday?
No, I'm in region 97 and I am in tract 9. So 97-9.
Number 9.
Yeah.
Number 9.
So our little thing is called Kairis. Kairis from the wild northeast. And yeah, it's a humble region. You know, it's all the YGG
Wild North.
SPL Exeters.
That's where Jangles' nomadic potion makers are from, right? Wild Northeast. Am I thinking
Wild
that right?
Northeast. That's right. Yep.
Bam.
All my plots are up there. 98, 102, and 94.
Yep.
94.
Dude, keeps are excellent. I have a random keep where I own half of my tract in 119 Longshire, and I am not making any aura down there, but somebody in my tract is, because whenever I freaking harvest that keep, I'm getting some aura. And I love it.
Yeah. I
'Cause that is
actually
expensive stuff to actually make, man. I'm actually considering stopping making aura for a while, and because it's so resource intensive.
hmm
It's like I used to be a little bit ahead with every harvest, and now I'm not. I'm just breaking even, and I got to put everything in there. And I'm like, man, I need to be making DEC so I could stake more cards, or
Are
at
you
least having some
Jupiter Jimmy?
extra. Jupiter Jimmy is one of the accounts I manage. That's a friend of mine who went big into Chaos Legion. And we grabbed a couple plots with earnings at one point when they were way too expensive, of course. And now we're going to see what's happening. So, yes, Jupiter Jimmy is an account I have the keys to.
That's another Jimmy. Yet another
Another
Jimmy.
Jimmy. He's in the, I believe he's in the Jimmy Guild as well, if you look deep.
Oh yeah,
Jimmy I think it's Jimmy 3 exclamation points. That's the guild we have going on.
nice, nice man. Well, I'm curious with we talked. Dave has talked a lot about it across a few appearances over the last couple of months about stuff potentially coming for land. We have to imagine, like we expressed a little bit earlier, rewards cards eventually being mintable in black foil. The pickle's going to be available in black foil. We're seeing Aura as a component of expenses for acquiring auction points or raffle tickets or whatever it is.
Tickets, yeah.
Legendary summoners, there's going to be a way to, I'm sure, stack your buy-in. Previously it was vouchers to increase gold foil chances. I would expect that Aura is going to come into play at some point with respect to that stuff. So we're seeing the demands for all of these land resources continue to pile upon one another. Jimmy, how are you feeling with land in general? I mean, you've called out the last few episodes that you're really, zigging while everybody is zagging, looking at land cards. What are you seeing over there?
I'm looking long term. I'm thinking again long term. And I'm not even going huge land cards. Thank God I got here early enough that I had enough alphas and betas and all that stuff. I made at the time it was a mistake. When I first got in here, I bought a whole bunch of beta cards. And this was during the J69 sale. And I'm like, ooh, let me buy that in beta. Let me buy this Lord of Darkness and getting all this. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, all of a sudden, alphas were like almost the same price as beta, just a little bit more. And then I realized there were alpha only tournaments that you could play. And I was like, ooh, you know what? I shouldn't have bought all these betas. I'm gonna buy alphas and sell my betas. And I just don't sell stuff. So I just kept my betas. And it turned out to be a good move for land staking. But I'm still thinking, Chaos Legion, when you look at PP, those Chaos Legion gold foils, they're the last last point of decent, affordable PP. I'm not talking like crazy 100,000 alpha legendaries and stuff, but I'm talking like 4,000 to 6,000 per card for like $20. You're like, all right, I think that's going to pay off long term. Right now, I've been stacking more than I can put on land because of the DEC restrictions. So that's literally the only reason I'm thinking like maybe I'm going to stop aura production for a little while because I have one pretty hefty plot producing aura, but I had two and it was too much. I was showing up negative, and I didn't want to just like sell potions for 3 cents and try to catch up because that wasn't paying off. So I stopped one of those, went back to the resource, and I'm kind of like, again, I love having to make a difficult decision. Do I stop Aura so I could stockpile resources and really crank out some DEC to get more cards staked on land now to generate more of those resources to get my Aura lab back in action, or do I go heavy on Aura and kind of hinder development moving forward? I love the fact that that's a choice that I'm stuck on.
What tool do you use to kind of like view and manage your plots?
My brain.
No way.
I use so believe it or not, I do. No, I use my brain.
Believe it or not. Believe it or not.
I use my brain. I use Baron's toolbox, man, because I still do, because that visual representation is the best in the game. Like if I want to see how my individual plots are optimized, and I've done a lot of shuffling in the past couple months, I'm like, because mining SPS and then the introduction of 175, where everything kind of shifted. I had to shift cards around, because I had like maybe magical plots. I had going heavy on research before, and now I'm not because again, research is insanely expensive. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that, I couldn't maintain everything. I would have to be paying every harvest out of pocket, and I wasn't down for that. So I've been shuffling cards around. I'd be like, holy crap, this epic is way under powered. I have to get some of this high PP off of maybe this other common magical and move it over to this epic to really take advantage of that 40% boost. So I've been shuffling slowly, dealing with the 3-day cooldown, hoping to remember to do stuff and move things, and watching production kind of increase. Every once in a while, I just have 10K DCC. Let me throw another maxed rare gold foil on here and get a little bit more. But yeah, honestly, it's freaking Baron's toolbox because I'll say, what are all my epic plots looking like? Oop, that one's a little underpowered. Let me throw something else. That rare has too many powerful cards. I need to take advantage of the boost from the epic, etc., etc.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right now. It's super helpful. Yeah,
It's the
this is
best, man.
beautiful looking. Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful looking.
And he hasn't even updated from 175. Like you could see your grain, magic, and SPS plots, but you can't like say this one's making stone, this one's making, that's just an empty icon on the plot. I'm hoping
I
he
see it.
upgrades it at some point, but it still shows you, what your plots are doing. You see
Hmm.
what in one shot on one screen, what all your, what you have on what plot. Totems, Rooney, cards. You see your PP per hour. It's the most useful tool for organizing visually. I look at peak monsters and I can't really see what I need to see. You have to click, it just doesn't work on a mass overview type of scale.
Yeah. No, this is clean.
Nothing
I like
against peak
this.
monsters, obviously, but I mean, just Baron's Toolbox made the best way to look at your land, I think.
Well, I think they serve different purposes, right? Like I think Peak Monsters is a very quick and easy way to either load up land and get it started. You can very quickly
Maybe to get
apply
it
a
started, but when it's
title.
running, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. And Peak Monsters is great for harvesting. It's super easy. You don't have to click through 5 different pages to harvest stuff. Uh, that's assuming you've got the resources.
Yeah,
I've got
that's
to
the
do a
thing.
little bit of shuffling around of resources in order to
Exactly.
harvest. So I have to
Yeah.
go through the painstaking UX that is splinterlands.com land management. But
Dude, it's killing me because I have to do the same, and it's just like and now I've been putting it off, and I try to be like, all right, I have to remember it like day 6. I'm like, I got to sit down for like 40 minutes and just shuffle stuff around, and I'll always forget. I'll be like, damn it, I spent my stone on this thing. It's on grain over here, but I need that stone for wood there because I have too much stone now, and now I can't trade without losing like too much. It's
Bless your
definitely
guys' heart. I'm glad you guys started talking about land because then I went and looked and I was like at 99.77% like full. And I was like, oh, time to harvest.
did you get a totem
Oh yeah.
fragment?
Hell no. I've gotten one common totem fragment in like a year and a half. Like I don't get anything. So I don't.
Keeps have good chances of pulling them, no?
I think my keep's
They're the
broken.
only.
My keep's
It
broken
is broken.
because I
I pulled
don't.
a
I
I
pulled
pulled
a
a rare
rare.
fragment a couple
I
weeks
pulled a
ago.
rare the other day. Dude,
Yeah.
rare totems are my jam, man. I think I pull more
Yeah,
rare totems than anything else. More rares than commons.
Salt in the
I
woods.
pull. I
Salt in
pull
the
fragments.
woods.
Let's talk about modern.
I need one more legendary totem, man. That's what I'm waiting for. I pulled 3 over the whole lifespan, and I just need one more. I don't want to buy
Mm,
it for 250, but I'm doing the math. I'm looking at stuff, and totems are a mixed bag, man. Some of them it takes at current resource prices, it takes years for like to a common totem to pay off. When you look at what it actually does for increasing and then see the cost that you paid, it takes years for a common totem to pay off in many cases. Just throwing it on a plot with no Rooney and with no other, crazy booster, crazy cards.
yeah.
Years.
Yo, by the way, Jimmy, you suggested I launch my new epic title on land.
Yeah.
Last episode, 2 episodes ago.
Yeah,
Uh,
while you can display it as your
you
showcase,
can.
Yeah,
right?
you
Yes,
can.
you
Yep, that's what I
can.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bam.
So
Awesome.
great
How's it
tip.
working for you?
My land
How's it work?
is my land is 25% more enigmatic, bro. It's good.
Nice. That's a good thing.
I don't see anybody
That's a
rocking
good.
that title, by the way. I feel like I'm the
Which
only
one?
one. The
Enigma?
Enigma. Enigma.
The
Yeah.
Enigma.
I see a lot of arcanes and rebels and veterans, but yeah, I'm the only Enigma in the top 50. Interesting.
Nice. That kind of accurate, right? It's accurate for the title.
Yeah.
Kind of like a
A
million
little
was that.
mysterious. Yeah.
Uh,
Word. Well, we've got okay, so let's look ahead for the next. By the way, can you guys believe it's already almost June 1st? Holy shit.
Nope.
no, that's
What
insane.
it's
That's
so
insane.
insane, man. It's so insane.
That's
It's
crazy.
so insane. Yeah. Yeah, so almost June 1st. That means one more month in Q2. Things are shaping up, continuing to move in the right direction. Um, when do you guys expect conflict stuff? That's kind of the
I'm
next
not.
big conclave thing is conflict number one.
I
What do
expect
you guys think?
nothing.
Question.
I don't do
It's a
timelines
good
anymore.
question. I don't know. I would think it's got to be within next season, I would say. Like I don't think
Announcement?
more than a month before they do the first one, right? Or start the first one.
When did they do Rebellion? Because I remember we had Cryptomancer on in I want to say just before Christmas. So Rebellion was already out, and they had opted to delay conflicts a month in order to make some kind of game time adjustments. Uh, so I think it was maybe 10 weeks before we got Rage from the
Hmm.
time General Sale launched, which would mean we would need conflicts to start last week of June if that timeline was still,
The standard.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
I mean, I feel like there was nine airdrops, right? Each one lasted a month, but
Yep.
wasn't Rebellion only supposed to be in the general sale for 9 months?
I think it was a year. So two
Was it a
months,
year?
2 months at the beginning and a month after Nitty. Is that right?
Okay. So it was a year and then 3 months off before. That's what they
So
say. They wanted a
Rebellion
break.
ended. When did Rebellion end? Was it January?
That sounds
Hmm.
right.
Might have been.
No, what? No, that's only because it came out what November, right? It came out in November or the end of October the year before,
General Sale launched December, I think.
December.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because we had, you guys remember it was Thanksgiving. It was uh the update before Thanksgiving that we got Land 1.5 and Rebellion. And then we had that big run in SPS throughout the month of December.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess maybe it is. Maybe it can be in the next, like by the end of June. But yeah, hopefully they got some data figured out because yeah, hopefully I just blew everybody's mind and now everybody's gonna freak out for a while till that airdrop or till the Peak D article comes out and
that's a
everyone's gonna.
legitimate concern for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
And
definitely
again, the
one of
track record
those.
is hard to gauge it right with those first drops. So
Well, do you remember like when I started, CP was important because you had to like rent CP for like advancement in tiers and like you needed it for tournament requirements and all that stuff. So there was literally a market to just rent CP. you
Oh
know.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
And I feel like
absolutely.
since they kind of went away with that, like CP hasn't really had so much, um, consideration, I guess, in my mind. It's just kind of a number. I know it's associated to production points on land, but I am curious. They had to have thought about the inflation of CP in this set, and I'm curious how they're going to handle it.
Yes, I would agree. It had to be considered.
December 19th is when Rebellion ended.
Mm. Okay, so it was like 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
5 month break.
2 months, then 9 months, and then 1 month off.
And it was almost a 5 month break to the T, mid-December to mid-May.
Yeah, and I like how this one is set up. Like we survived that one fine. There was nothing because there was no new players, no new demand, but that is like that risky point of like in the perfect storm. That's the crap that happened to us between Untamed and Chaos for all of us that came in that time. And so it'll be nice this go around that won't be the case because there will always be something on the shelf from the company. There will always be a starter pack available. And I can say for me personally, that would have satiated a lot of stuff for me is if I could have purchased starter packs and just rode that out till the next set release and been able to play with, rares and commons and just start my journey from there at a reasonable price. Like that would have been awesome.
Yeah,
Also, the
Summoners are
rares
in
and
there.
commons in Conclave are badass.
Yeah, they are. I mean,
They're
that's where all the
great cards.
synergy's at. You're
Yeah.
not pain
Hmm.
forging without them. You
Yeah.
know, no tickling turtles without commons and rares.
Nobody will get that joke, man. I wish we had kept the damn turtle. That was the what was it? Resilient? Is that what it
Yeah.
used to be called? Yeah.
Yep.
Brazilian. Oh
And
yeah, no, no,
and
no.
the
That
icon
was
was
the
the little
worst thing
turtle
ever.
emoji, tickling
Yep.
That was
turtles.
terrible. So
Tickling
glad they got rid
turtles.
of it.
Rogue, you have been running with you were the one that introduced this catchphrase, slogan, motto. I still see it on your streams. Comes up every time we talk, I think. Play with your bags. Let's
Hmm.
for any new folks out there, I feel like it's a really cool concept. Uh, I don't know if it gets enough value in terms of people are the community is always looking, how do I ROI? How do I maximize, my investment within this stuff? And I feel like we're experiencing a shift to a place where we're talking about what are rewards after SPS or in addition to, or how do we supplement with SPS? Uh, and I feel like play with your bags is a really big component that should be pressed a little bit more upon our player base. Would you mind indulging us a little bit in the theory of play with your hashtag play with your bags?
Yeah. So, I mean, back when I was new into crypto, the phrase that I just kept hearing in the space was, it's like packing your bags, or like, filling your bags, making sure your bags are ready for the next bull run. And what they were talking about was just buying coins and sitting on them, and waiting for them to go up. And that's what they would talk about. So it's like it was meme coins, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, it's whatever. It's pack your bags. Like make sure your bags are ready, and that I personally have never done well in just passive investing. Like it's not, it doesn't entertain me by any stretch. And so for me personally, what I've decided in for my crypto journey and for my like experience in Web3 is I'm not really buying or sitting on assets that I'm not actively playing with. And the mindset for that was that I will never actually truly realize those silly gains if I'm not actually playing with the asset while it's appreciating. Like I think about it often. It's like, sure, if I was one of those guys that bought Bitcoin at like $500, would I be sitting on that same Bitcoin today at flipping, 100,000? Probably not. I'd have sold along the way. You know what I mean? But if I'm playing with those assets, there's a chance I would be like the infidel. I remember back when he did that video about selling his Max Kitty for like tens of thousands. I don't remember what it was. It was a silly price. He did a whole home renovation with one card. You know what I mean? Like I think he upgraded a bathroom, put on a back deck or something like that. Like he did a major home renovation with a Max Foil Kitty that he sold at the peak, but like he was really wrestling with this like, man, I don't really want to get rid of this card. I want it. And it's because he's playing with it. He's having fun with it. And so that's for me where I put my value in crypto and in Web3 is its utility, but utility for my entertainment. And so that's why my bags are always packed with what I can play with. So I'm always playing with my bags. Um, and that was also a mantra that actually proved really good through the bear because I'm now like we've been through what, a 3 year crazy bear market. Like I'm fine. Like I'm fine. That was crazy. It hurt. I'm not out millions of dollars. Like I'm not mad at the world. Like I was just along for the ride. And I was playing with my bags the whole time. I wasn't just staring at some number on the screen that was going down. Whee! I was logging in, I'm playing battles, and I'm constantly stacking, like maybe the value in USD was going down, but the coins themselves were going up, the cards were going up, my wins were going up, my entertainment was going up. So like I am now like this is why I had the motto was to get through bears, to, be able to not cash out early and to just really put money into stuff that I'm entertained with. And that's how we got to hashtag play with your bags.
Very
That's
nice.
such a very nice. Yeah, I think
Very nice.
that's such a valuable perspective. I think folks should lean into a little bit more. I think about, at the end of the day, Splinterlands is Web3. You own your stuff, you earn crypto, you transact on the blockchain, you battle on the block. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that I think is unique to Splinterlands. And by the way, happy 7th birthday. That's a
Yeah.
huge achievement.
Yeah. Go Splinterlands.
And they continue to prove their staying power, which is so cool. This time next year, at least Rogue and I, we will have been here for more than half of Splinterland's life,
Yep.
which is crazy. A lot of projects have closed up doors, and there was some that just this past week that did the same thing. And I think that having that sort of stuff in mind while you're entering into Splinterlands and sinking your teeth into the markets and looking at what kind of SPS you've got to acquire to earn a certain amount of glint to continue building out your deck. Play with your bags is such a critical piece to all of that. And I think Mondroid, shout out again to Mondroid, he dropped we had talked about this before, and I was aware of his numbers. He did a really good job of kind of putting the finances to hashtag play with your bags when he was doing a little bit of a look back on what did he spend going into Rebellion and what are his assets worth on the other side of Rebellion. And I could be wrong, but I want to say he 2.5x'd everything across, looking at his airdrops and his SPS. Of course, it's unrealized. Mondroid's he's a player. He's not selling that stuff. But if we have a lot more folks kind of entering with that sort of mindset of building for the long term, while in the meantime you are playing with your bags, we're going to be in a much better position. And I feel like we're getting there. So I appreciate you indulging us there, Rogue. I think play with your bags is such a cool, fresh perspective on this stuff that a lot of folks just don't necessarily consider.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I've always the cool part about our game and the cool part about our whole experience here is that like there is an exit that's possible at any time. And that's there's not a lot of games and there's not a lot of entertainment that you can pay for today that offers that same floor of like you own what you're buying, do with it as you please, you know. And there's enough other people,
including flip it and rip it.
flip it and rip it, baby. But yeah, and then there's, you know, it's just with that floor and that expectation, it's like I don't mind, you know, spending and putting money into that, knowing like I don't have to take it out. Like that's one of the things that like After Sound always talks about ice cream money. I hate that idea. Ice cream money. No, you leave it in. You let that baby cook. Then you go buy an ice cream factory in 15 years. You keep licking ice cream every week. You're never gonna own an ice cream factory. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that that's possible, though. I
Oh
disagree
yeah.
fundamentally with the ice cream money concept. Also, it's a pain in the ass. Number one, to move stuff around. I don't want to do that all the time.
It's an expensive drumstick.
Yeah, it is an
In
expensive drumstick. uh, but you know, I use my ice cream money to compound right back into more Splinterlands stuff, and especially now with the brand new set out there, there's always going to be something that you know is piquing my interest on the market, or you know, some fun trades that you can engage with folks, and um, yeah. Have you guys been? I feel like the P2P trades have really become a bigger part of transacting this time around than I remember ever in the past. I mean, I had done a handful previously. Jimmy and I, we swapped a couple Chaos Legion reward gold foil cards, and you know, I set up. If you guys are not listening out there, or not in the People's Guild Discord, we have a called Shakedown Street, a little bit of a swap, buy, sell, trade, yada yada conversation there. There's always routinely some folks that are putting up some assets for either I'm interested in seeking these out, or I have these available to entertain offers. Uh, but I feel like with Conclave, man, I've done a lot of wheeling and dealing with Conclave stuff, where traditionally I was going straight to the market and just waiting for sales, waiting for sales. But I feel like there's a lot more folks that are looking to entertain trades than at least what I was privy to previously. Are you guys seeing any of that? Is that just unique to my experience?
Well, for me, I've never done peer to peer because I've never had anything extra that I'm trying to trade. So it's never been a market that I've actually gone into and seen. But I do like that we have a system set up to do it though, and that there's a bunch of trusted people in the community that you can use as these kind of in-betweens to do that. And so that's awesome.
Yeah, I have not done it for CA yet, but I'm actually, while shuffling and optimizing land, I was just thinking about doing it for offering looking to trade some gold foil epics for other gold foil epics of different splinters. So I will be diving into the P2P thing again. I still get asked to middleman on occasion. You know, you just be like on Discord and some random person will be like, "Hey Jimmy, can you middleman something?" I'd be like, "Sure." So it's happening. It's happening.
There it is.
It's happening.
Yeah, really, Blaze has really made a big push for, you know, I think he called out during the last town hall. The team was going around the horn kind of offering like what is my one wish list item, and Blaze said the trade hub. Uh,
Yeah.
Man, that would be so sweet. Not having to worry about, yeah, I trust both of you guys on this call, and I would middleman for either one of you, and I would expect, without a shadow of a doubt that you guys would respect, honoring a middleman position for any trade that I was involved in. But to remove that for the new guys that just don't have those trusted homies in Splinterlands. And, we've talked about the ability to put, if I want to put my Taylor Swift up on auction, start it at $2,000 and let the big fish duke it out. Why not? Like, man, that trade hub would be such a sweet addition
The
to kind of
peer-to-peer
round
trading.
out the collectability stuff.
Yeah, it's glorious. It was a huge success of Wax. It's a big part of why all the Wax projects were successful too, was all that, peer-to-peer trustless trading. I'd look at your collection, we just, hey man, I'll trade you this gold foil for that gold foil. I throw it up there, hit enter. If you throw it up there and hit enter, it's a smart contract. It's executed. It's done. I actually think that's a necessity with Splinterlands, being that it's a TCG. We need to incorporate trustless trading. But that's just me. Actually, no, it's not just me. I know other people are thinking that too. Agree with that concept.
It's not just you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
We're all there.
Trustless trading. It's what
I agree.
blockchain's all about. Sort
Yep.
of. One of the many things.
One of the pieces, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Word. Well, gentlemen, we've just hit the 2.5 hour mark ish. What do you guys? Let's round it out with this, Rouge. What are you most excited about with what we know is to come over the next couple of months from the team?
Oh, let's see. I mean, the marketing push, I think, is something I'm really excited about. I mean, we've got something to keep us entertained for like the next couple of weeks with this YGG gap. So that's going to be fun. I think I'm already super excited. Like, you didn't talk about it at all, but like whatever you got going on in your Discord right now to like with Brave Tofu and like moving in these new players, like that's sick. I love it. And kudos to you guys for like trying to be that. I did the exact same thing. I just jumped right into YGG's Discords and I'm like, hey, I'm here. Do you need to know anything about Splinterlands? Like, you guys are awesome. Welcome. I was
Yeah,
like,
you're
I'll help.
definitely a dog person, Rogue. I can see it.
So, I was like, so
Probably
seeing,
a
like,
golden
you guys,
retriever.
yeah, yeah. Hey, you guys need anything? Welcome to Splinterlands. We love
Squirrel.
you. Squirrel.
Well,
But
let's talk about that real quick. I'm glad you brought that up. It kind of slipped my mind. Uh, so
oh yeah,
Tofu
congratulations, YGG
for what?
SPL.
Oh
You
yeah, that's
guys
huge.
are an official YGG on-chain guild.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I just saw you guys post that today. Like, congratulations. Like, good on you guys. Like, you and Krypton, like, great job getting that in place. I don't know what hoops you had to jump through or how much you had to pay or how much of a
I
pain in
did
the ass it
nothing.
was, but
That was
well,
Krypton.
good. Crimpton, well done. Way to look out for the Brawlers and the YGG SPL crew and get them involved. And honestly, I know you guys had something to do with like getting on the gap as well. And so like shout out to you guys. You guys did awesome. Way to represent for your players. And I am very much looking forward to playing you guys in these tournaments coming up here soon. This is going
Wait,
to
so
be
are you in a
watching.
guild? What's your
Yeah,
guild, dude? And why
yeah, I
is it
did.
not YGGSPL?
Because I wasn't invited, and frankly, I don't know how you guys really feel about me, or at least upper management does. I know you and I are cool, but
Yeah,
you
get
know,
out of here, man.
we
Get your
got
ass into
history, guys.
YGGSPL, bro.
We
Come
got
on.
Ah, get
history.
him into TP, man.
At the end of
TP
the
is where
day, like we got
Costco, man,
history,
way
so
better.
I'm
Way better.
fine being on the other side, poking you guys. Like, so yeah, no. What ended up, I ended up getting recruited by the firm And so it turns out the firm was like some OGs from Splinterlands that are all kind of deactivated at this point. So like Elephantium, Bob Car J, Crazy Keyboard Kira, they were all in there. And I was just like, yo, homies. And so I was like, let's go. Um, and they were gonna, yeah, they
Plato
were gonna do it.
Zero, Dave the Great.
Yep. Yeah, so it's
Nice, man.
some of the old Splinterlands TV Filipino crew and some guys that I was very familiar with, and I was like, I'm glad you guys are here because yeah, I was like, and they're already mostly Splinterlands. They were actually pretty deactivated though, and so this is going to be fun kind of reactivating and getting them back in. And so yeah, I got Mondroid's with me. So sorry guys.
What a dick. I retract all of my shout outs to you, Mondroid. Retracted.
So yeah, we kind of beefed up. We're gonna try to beef up the firm and see what we can do there, and hopefully we can string up some top 50s and take some of the brawlers down along the way, take them down. But no, honestly, congratulations, guys. I'm glad you guys got that title back, and I'm glad that you guys will like fully be involved in everything going forward. You guys deserve it. So.
Well,
kudos.
I know. So I was talking to Crimpton and Unit Master about this, and I think at this point there's a standing invite for any Splinterlands community member who is looking to find a YGG guild. Disregard the firm. It's got a funky spelling. You cannot find it. Just type in YGGSPL, submit an application. Crimpton has eyes on all that stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Like the gap, I think runs through mid-July. I think it's 8 weeks, 10 weeks,
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
like that.
it's like middle of July. Yeah, I think I did the math. It was like a couple days ago we had 50 days left. But
Nice.
yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I know that the team is looking at this as very much an experiment. If it can bring new players, great. If it can re-engage old players, awesome. I think that, ultimately just looking at this thing as an experiment, what can we learn if there's new players that are coming in to play Gap and they're not sticking for, ranked or tourneys or joining guilds. It identifies, gaps in our process and will help us ultimately make a better product. So I'm excited to see how this thing pans out. I was honestly surprised that Crimson was able to get YGG as or YGG SPL as a guild. But here we are. Pretty cool.
Good on him. Yeah, so looking at that first tournament, the first tournament's going to be here tomorrow. Yeah, it starts 5:30 at 9 a.m. So, yeah, so it starts tomorrow morning. So it starts in about 9 hours. We got 92 people entered in so far into this first tourney. And just kind of thumbing through the names, it's a lot of dudes from your guys' crew, some familiar names from our crew, and then there's this giant chunk of bronze and novice names with LITE at the end of it. And
That's
so
non-spellbook players.
yeah, those are non-spellbook players, and there is a good chunk of them. And so that is straight YGG, never had an account ever. And so we'll see. I guess I'm curious to see if any of these, like I'm going to say over 50% of the people participating in this don't have spellbooks. Just looking how massive that list is in the beginning and how small like our little pools are. So like these are some of them big guilds that are going to come out and do this for the YGGs. But one, I'm curious how successful they're going to be able to be, without, experience or anything along those lines. But then two, do they stay non-spellbook players over this whole 6 weeks? They're going to be essentially mentally committed to at least showing up here once a week. for these tournaments and doing this, um, is that going to be like, are they going to still just like come and leave when they're done with the gap, or like is that going to be enough time to kind of hook them? You know, because I think they designed these tournaments really well. We've got two novice, two bronze, and two silver tournaments. Three of them are Conclave Arcana only, and three of them are modern. So, like, I think that's a very healthy new player experience. I think silver was a great idea to like cap this out at. It kind of gives them like a reach point of showing them like the difference in the game between the three leagues, at least there, without showing them what diamond looks like. So like I'm pretty happy with these tournaments, and I'm looking forward to seeing how many people do we get going forward and how many of these accounts end up getting spell books along the way.
Yeah.
What's the entry requirements?
No entry requirement. You just got to be in an official YGG on-chain guild. So there's no spell book, there's no DEC, there's no nothing requirement. You just have to be on chain.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah. 92, that's a solid turnout.
For the first one, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was theories that like we wouldn't
Good
even hit
start.
50 on the first one. But
Well,
yeah, they swarmed it.
Theory put to rest. I might skip the novice one. Yeah.
Do it. Play it.
I
You got
would.
it.
Like honestly, like just showing up and giving free wins to the firm probably wouldn't help you guys. So yeah, you should just stay out of it.
But
Oh,
nice.
I just moved my screen. What card am I?
That's the world famous Skinwalker, baby.
The original positioning.
Oh shoot. Yeah. So you called out the Tofu. There's a new players channel in the TPG Discord. Tofu's got a good chunk of players that he's been sending over. In addition to his, little onboarding package that he's put together and rounded out, and it is really solid. So if somehow I don't think People's Guild makes many brand new players playlists, but if you are a new player or you are just getting into Splinterlands and you do not have a spellbook yet, I definitely recommend reaching out to Brave Tofu. You can just
Yeah.
search for that on Discord. Find the article associated with this episode on Peak D, and there is a link to our Discord. Hop in. We'll take care of you as best we can. We've got some open spots in some of the Brawlers guilds that we have been making available to new players as well. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's what. It's a good time to be here, and an even better time to be brand new here. So
Yeah, one of the biggest whales in the game, and one of the like the best players, literally says in this package like he will one-on-one with you, and there's so much value in that you can't assign a dollar to, like that's kudos to Tofu for being willing to be that ambassador to our game, like awesome.
Yeah, huge shout out. He's kicking ass, man. He's doing so much work. He's doing a lot on Twitter. Everything's happening. Was it his account that I just saw at 54 or 53 million SPS staked in the last proposal vote?
probably, yeah,
Yeah,
he's up there.
that's mind blowing. That's going to be $53 million one day soon. You do realize.
He's coming up on 2% of total supply ever.
Holy crap. Thank the Lord he's a good person and totally awesome and deserves that much SPS.
The current count, Tofu is at 52 plus, Vuctus is at 50, and Azurcon is at almost 18.
Well,
There's your 1,
I
2,
don't
3.
see Azurcon or Vuctus on this leaderboard here of referrals. I see Brave Tofu right at number 4, buddy. That means you're number 1 in my heart.
Nice. Where do you see the leaderboard? Ambassador status?
Yep, ambassador status. Then check out leaderboard. Brave Tofu, number 4.
Who's number 1?
Keychain.
Who is that? Who's Keychain?
My guess is it's
No
the Hive
idea.
Keychain.
Oh,
That's
there
my
you go.
guess.
Yeah.
That's clever. Huh?
Yeah.
I see YGG at number 10.
Bam. That's badass. I'm hoping the YGG token gets back to where it was last bull. That helped me
Mm.
out.
Yeah, you got a whole bunch of
Remember,
those, don't you?
I don't know. I got to look at how much I have. I remember buying some at one point, and then it just went way down on that last crash there. I don't know if it's still a thing, even.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
definitely still a thing. Whoa,
I
Bronze
have
Dragon,
my
number 5. Shout out Bronze Dragon. Doing good work.
Nice.
Nice.
So then switching it to spell books, Tofu's at the top of the list. He's got 33 of his 64. So he's got a 50% conversion rate. Steam
Whoa.
Monsters is at 15, and their referrals were
17.
17. So they really high referral or spellbook conversion there. Bronze Dragon is 5 versus 53.
And Keychain has 2 spell books,
Yeah.
despite. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where Tofu, top of the leaderboard right there, baby. Whipping
Yeah.
spell
That's
books.
title worthy. That's title worthy. There should be a title for that.
There
I
should
agree.
be a
For
title for
referrals at
that.
some point.
Ambassador Brave Tofu.
The Ambassador. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely,
yeah.
man.
The ambassador.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's
Sold.
a sick title.
Mhm.
Sold.
Sick title. Yeah. You deserve it, Tofu. Hell
You
yeah.
deserve it, buddy.
100%.
Man, yeah, this community is so badass, dude. There's so many rad people here.
Yeah, there really are. Yeah, I have my first 2 referrals. And I feel like that's another interesting point about the game for me is I'm at a point now where I'm actually really comfortable bringing somebody in and being able to explain to them and being very comfortable with them like opening wallets right now. Like I don't think we're at a point where like they're gonna experience anything that I experienced, where they're gonna have like some mass depreciation of value that they have to live through. Um, like I have a feeling like everything is okay right now, and so like just referring the game to people and allowing them to play for free and like being that like coach or like helping them is has been awesome. Like one of the guys that I just reached out to was a good friend of mine from Force of Will. He was the one that really unlocked like my competitive trading card mind, honestly. Like I was casual, I would say, before I really kind of spent a lot of time with him. And so I messaged him the other day. Right? I was thinking about him, you know, seeing what he was up to in life and everything. And I messaged him and just really let him know. I was like, look, dude, I've like this whole thing that I have now, like this whole like I'm a competitive player. This is my mindset. Like everything I've built in Splinterlands at this point is literally because of you and like conversations that we had back in like 7, 9 years ago, you know, and it was like, or yeah, it was 7 years ago. And I was like, man, dude, like the amount of stuff that is unlocked for me because of conversations we had 7 years ago is ridiculous. And he's like, man, that's awesome. And so, yeah, he's here and checking it out. And so, yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy time to be in Splinterlands.
I mean, that's a great sign of the times. Because you came from, your Splinterlands origin story was you were looking for the online TCG. You found
Mm-hmm.
Splinterlands, and for you to really, turn the page on the game is not in a place that is really accessible to most of your TCG buddies to come to a place now where you feel completely confident in chatting about Splinterlands to some of these guys. That's a big endorsement, man. That's huge.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I was talking with a guy buying an amp the other day. Came in to try some amps out. Crypto dude. I've known him for years. Didn't know he was into crypto. That came out. But what intrigued him most about Splinterlands was the whole DAO thing. He was trying to do, he was getting to the idea of this decentralized concept for something else. And, it was like a perfect candidate for a DAO. And then when I started explaining how long Splinterlands has had theirs and what it is and what it does and the governance token and stuff, it just blew his mind. That he's like, he wants to learn about Splinterlands because of the DAO. He's like, he's like, I want in, let me see what's going on here. So it's, pretty cool. Again, we're breaking new ground there.
Man, literally something for everybody. That would be the last reason I would ever want to, join a game.
Yeah,
is for the governance. But
the governance is like, wait, how's this work? What's going on? I'm showing them like the voting and how you can see how much SPS everyone has, how everyone votes, and everything on chain on Hive and stuff. And Hive blew his mind too. He's like, holy crap! He's like, why aren't all games on Hive?
Great question.
Great
question.
Be.
Yeah. Oh, yo, last update, we got the ramp.com is officially live. So shout out to Clay and the good work over at the DAO. But you can now hop on to ramp.network/buy and snag yourself some SPS. And it's meant to be. I don't have access here in Taiwan, but for a lot of the world and a lot of the states, a lot of the world and a lot of the states, this is meant to be a game changer for acquiring in-game tokens.
Nice. I haven't been on there yet. I will check that out myself.
I mean, that was always one of the coolest parts about Splinterlands for me is like just PayPal. PayPal in the credits is like the coolest flipping thing.
I
it
hate
helps.
that. I hate that. It's way too tempting. Now with the Venmo link, I'm like, damn it.
The Venmo link?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can do Venmo, man.
You can get credits.
It's bullshit. It's total bullshit, man. I'll be sitting there and just impulsively
I love
$100
that.
and think I hate it. It just keeps sucking my money.
Those are good things, Jimmy.
I know it is.
I have to work during all my shows. I have to sell amps to feed my addictions.
To feed my Splinterlands fast. My land. Populate my land. Yeah. Brutal. Yeah, I'd much rather SPS be $1 so I could just burn some SPS for DEC and buy some land cards. So
I'm fixing to do that, man.
Says the man that's never burned SPS in his life. I don't want to hear it.
Because SPS is too cheap for burning, man. I'm not burning SPS at a penny. You kidding me?
Yeah, but like, why would you burn it at $1? Like, fundamentally, you're still saying you always trade it. So, like, I'm sure you'll still trade it at $1.
No, I don't know, man. If the flywheel's kicking, I'll probably burn it at $1.
I'm getting ready to burn some at a penny, dude. I'm gonna be chasing black foils.
Crazy thought. Bam. Oh yeah. How many black foils you got now? You got like 30, right?
No, nowhere near that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
10.
Yeah, 11.
No, it's 10. I had Taylor Swift is on the market for $5,000. If anybody is Taylor Swift is on the market for $5,000. If anybody's looking,
$5,000. Look at you, bam.
Have you guys noticed an arcane foil in battle at all?
No,
I haven't either.
They're
I don't
super
even know
scarce.
if I faced any.
Yeah, they're super scarce. It wouldn't surprise me if we haven't. They're super scarce, man. They are just not there. I mean, you look at even the commons.
You just pulled one.
No, I was just thinking our ghost card tournaments have always been max gold foil. Are they gonna all be max black foil arcanes now?
No, they better not be, because no way. That'll downgrade the freaking thrill of seeing one in the wild.
Oh my goodness.
It will.
That would scratch an itch.
I want you to see one and be like, whoa.
I will see all of them, and I'll be like, "Whoa! Look at my screen; it's so shiny."
It's so shiny and shimmery.
I will hope. I hope the ghost card tournaments are at least black foil. That'd be sick. That'd be pretty unique.
They do look great. I do have to.
I'm going into one tomorrow, so we'll see what we'll see what it looks like. I'll let you know in 8.5 hours.
Yeah, I think they're so looking at the common Portly Cannoneer, there's 88 black foils, 6 gold arcanes, and 2 black arcanes. So the odds of you running into, at most 8 different accounts that have these arcanes.
I think that black arcane got pulled like today or yesterday. I remember I'm pretty sure I saw that notification pop up. Like very recently.
Shade pulled that epic. Man, what a prize, dude. That's
an epic black foil arcane.
Yeah. And it's the death taunt. I really like that card.
Damn.
Dang. All right, gentlemen. Let's put a bow on this thing. Rouge, always an absolute pleasure hanging out, dude. A lot of fun. Look forward to seeing a lot more W's next to my name and L's next to yours as we continue to face each other in battle.
Yeah, you've done a lot of work this season to be only like 1 spot above me on the leaderboard.
I experiment, man. I wish more folks would. That would be my one ask: is play with the new cards. If I had more commons and rares, play with the new cards.
I would. I flipping would.
Yeah. Well, I'm right there with you. I'm missing maybe half the epics, and my commons and rares are pretty spotty, but I still try and play them when and where I can. But
yeah.
No,
man, it's a pleasure as always. I love coming across. I love playing our battles and knowing I got a Discord message literally 30 seconds. Like as soon as I bring it up, I know you're already typing away, saying some crap. Yep. No, it feels good. I love that I have this game and I've experienced it with you guys and this wonderful empire here you guys have made, and I look forward to seeing everything you guys continue to do. And Jimmy, whatever you got coming down the line, I'm excited for it. And
hell yeah, Rouge. Jimmy, do you wanna spill the beans on what you're thinking, man?
Nope.
Okay. Stay tuned.
Nope.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
More details coming soon. Asterisk, maybe.
Soonish.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Go check out Rogue and Mondroid on Sunday Night Gospel, twitch.tv/Rogues Guild. Yep. And Rogue, you've been dropping your links in the TPG Discord the last couple of weeks. Please keep doing that. So if anybody out there is not on Twitch, just hop into the TPG Discord and take a quick gander. The link will be there. In fact, I will pin it as soon as we wrap up this episode so folks can find it whenever. But yep, we will be back next week. We've got another good guest lined up. Same time next week. So we will see you guys then. In the meantime, you have been listening to
The People's Guild.
Welcome to the People's Guild.
Splinterlands. Pretoria.
For guests all across the mythical land of Pretoria, tune in.
Come in.
Welcome to the People's Guild. Another week, another guest.
Pretoria. Tune in. Come in.
Welcome to the People's Guild. Another week, another guest.